What a terrific Tuesday. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely Tuesday after the long weekend. Hope you had some extra special time, whatever you're doing. Maybe going to sporting events. Maybe you were camping, just hanging out, fishing. There's lots to do on the long weekend, and hopefully it was enjoyable. If you were going to local sports, you had no shortage of it. Stingers and Riverhawks and the Elks and all sorts of different types of successes. The Elks, oh my goodness, that game on Saturday was a prime example of how bad teams find ways to lose, because that's what they did. Now, if Julian Grant holds on to the ball, it doesn't guarantee the Elks win, because Hamilton would have had time. They could have come back, and who knows what's happened. But it would have put them in a legit chance to win the game. You drop that pass, and it's game over. Right now, Hamilton maybe comes back, and who knows? Maybe they would have got to a field goal, and that would have tied the game. Because if Edmonton scores a touchdown, right, then they were up 31-28. And Hamilton didn't have to score. Who knows? Maybe it would have went to overtime. We'll never know. All we do know is that the Elks, I really feel like that's a game that they blew. That's a game they should have won. And it was right there. Hamilton did nothing on that play that would have cost the Elks to not get a touchdown. Like, when you look at when they stuffed them twice from the 1 yard line, I guess really it's 3 times, because the first time you thought it was in, it wasn't in. So it was actually 3 times they couldn't get a yard. That's awful. Okay, like, I'm sorry. Snyder in the short yardage isn't good. What were they, 1 for 4 in the game? 2 for 5, I can't remember. Either way, it's not good enough. I might consider going to Cody Fajardo in short yardage situations. Ricky Ray did it for years. You can't tell me that. I know that now we can't have our starting quarterback. We don't want to take a hit. What's more important, the touchdown or absorbing a shot that in most cases sometimes isn't even a shot? Your guy's not getting hit very hard. So that's something I consider. But at least you can say, hey, the defense did something to stop us. On that drop pass, there is nothing that Hamilton did to stop. Receivers open, quarterback, I'm not sure you can ask for a better pass. It's right in your hands. And Julian Grant just flat out dropped it. And that's a play that we had talked about it earlier in the, there's key situations. You're going to make mistakes in games. Don't make it at a critical time. And that's exactly what happened. If you drop that play on 2nd and 6 and it's in the flat, right, and maybe you'd get a first down, that's different than dropping it wide open in the end zone. It's not comparable. And that was such a brutal drop. One play doesn't cost you the entire game, but man, it sure put them in a pickle. And that was ugly. The Stingers, not a great weekend for them at home. They lose to Vancouver, who is the best team in the league. That's obvious. And then on Sunday, they lose a heartbreaker, 90-88 to the Rattlers. Not what you want. So if you're a Stingers fan, you're just like, what is going on here? This is not what we were expecting to have happen, right? So, but either way, that's how it goes, man. Meanwhile, the Riverhawks, hey, they're good. And it comes down to this series. So the Riverhawks in the second half, them and Victoria are tied 19-7. And by far, these two are the best teams in the second half. Bellingham and Wenatchee are both 13-12. So they're 5.5 games up on both of those teams. If you look at the overall, the Riverhawks actually have the best record in the West Coast League in the North Division at 33-19 combined between the first half and the second half. Now, Bellingham won the first half, so they automatically get the number 1 seed. Kind of weird, but that's how it is. Whoever wins the second half will be the seed number 2. And then after that, it's going to be the best overall records. And so right now, Edmonton and Bellingham are there, Victoria and Wenatchee. So those 4 teams are in. It's just a matter of, does Edmonton get the second seed or does Victoria get the second seed? That's all that's left. And they got 2 games remaining tonight and tomorrow. Riverhawks lost in Victoria yesterday. And so they got to find a way. I don't know what the tiebreaker is. I'd have to dig into it to find out what the tiebreaker is, if it's head-to-head between Edmonton and Victoria or not. But 2 games left, and it's a great race. So the Riverhawks, before you left, they were playing great ball. So if you went there, you got to see some wins. So that was good. Also, around the CFL, of course, there's lots to talk about. Also, you have, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander night in coming up in Hamilton on Thursday. So that'll be a big day for them. The Blue Jays, man, 25 hits, 15 runs. The Rockies are terrible. But guess what? Just because the teams are bad doesn't guarantee you 100% you're going to win. So you got to win those games. And Lauer just goes on the mound, pitches very well again. And now the Jays have a chance to these are the games you want to win at this time of year, no question. And Bo Bichette sets a career high with RBIs, which led me to the question that I posed on Twitter, and I'm curious what any of you think. So Bo Bichette's a pending UFA. He's currently making $11.2 million, which puts him, I think, 13th amongst shortstop. But it's a pretty big gap because there's 10 of them. He's 13th at 11.2. There's 10 shortstops, and this is just timing when your contract's up. His contract's up, and there's 10 of them who make over 20 million, and all 10 make at least 23 million. Trevor Story, Dansby Swanson, Xander Bogaerts, Willie Adams, Bobby Witt Jr., Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, Corey Seager, Carlos Correa, Francisco Lindor is at the top at 34.1 mil. And when you look at Bo Bichette, here's where he ranks amongst shortstops. So he's first in hits, he's second in doubles, he's second in RBIs, he's 10th in home runs, he's third in batting average, he's 4th in slugging percentage, he's 7th in OPS, and he's 11th in on-base percentage because he doesn't walk a ton. And then if you look at fielding, he's actually improved quite a bit this year. He's tied for a 10th in fewest errors among shortstops, and he's tied for 14th when it comes to best fielding percentage. And so I was looking at the guys who are ahead of him: Corey Seager, Xander Bogaerts, Swanson, Bobby Witt Jr., Trey Turner, Mookie Betts. And now Gunnar Henderson hasn't had a very good year, but defensively still pretty good. He's 982. And then there's Bichette, and he's 979. But Francisco Lindor is behind him in fielding percentage. Now he has more home runs, but Bo Bichette hits the ball a lot, puts the ball in play. As I mentioned, he's got a good OPS, good slugging percentage. He's easily getting 20 mil. And honestly, there's no reason why he's not going to be in the top 10 highest paid shortstops next year. So if you look at that, to be 10th, he would have to make 25.3 million or more. And I think he's going to get that. It's just a matter of, what's his term going to be? Like, Cons, what kind of contract? Because I was looking at like Bobby Witt Jr. obviously got a pretty decent contract, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at the other ones, like Bobby Witt Jr. signed for 11 years. And it's and that was $288 million, by the way, which is crazy money. But do you think Bo Bichette gets like 10-year deal here? Like, when you look at his numbers, I can see why he would get a 10-year deal.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm on board with paying him what he wants. Like, he's been that good for them this year, and defensively he has improved. When you just look at those big term deals, they were signed at young ages, right? For Bobby Witt, he was 23 years old. Fernando Tatis was 21, right? Like young players when they get these contracts. For Bo Bichette, though, he's still just 27, and some of the contracts were handed out. Seager got 10 years at the age of 27. Carlos Correa got 6 years at the age of 28. Francisco Lindor, he got 10 years at the age of 28. So if I can, that's what I'm going for, Gregor. I mean, I want to make sure he's a Blue Jay long term, and I know they've got some prospects at the shortstop position. So if he didn't want to go long term, and say he hypothetically wanted to go 4 or 5 years and then reevaluate things when he's in his early 30s, you can understand it, and the Jays might be comfortable doing so. But I will always take what I know is a good player versus a prospect because you know how good he is leading the league in hits. I would be looking for double-digit years for sure.
You think he's going to get double digits, eh?
I mean, I would try to. I try to make sure he's a Blue Jay for the rest of his career if I can. But I don't blame him if he wants to go look elsewhere because I've said for a long time I think he isn't as in love with playing with the Jays as a Vlad Guerrero Jr. is.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? That's a really good question. I don't know well, and I don't know him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've only ever spoke to Bo once, so I can't claim that I know him at all. You get to know some guys if they like a situation or not, and it does seem like it's always been like Vladdy, and I understand it, but Bo Bichette's numbers are pretty damn good.
Yeah,
like if you compare the two, right? Like Vladdy obviously has more power, but man, like I know. Now, baseball has all the numbers, and I'd like to find out, like, Bo Bichette and how many pitches he forces opposing pitchers, in an average at bat. I'd love to know what his is because, man, that guy can grind and hit foul balls. Like, I'd love to know how many foul balls he's hit to keep his at bat alive. It's probably another stat I'd like to have. So, because it just seems like it's a lot, right? So, I'd be very, very curious on that one. So. Hey, Gregor, do you think the Elks just keep trying the same thing since they look better against Hamilton, or do they go back to Ford and change things up? Fajardo had a good game, so I don't think he's part of the problem from Stu Lou. Well, I don't think they're going to change their quarterback right now. I said it the minute they made the change from Trey Ford to Cody Fajardo, then it can't just be a one-off, 1 game, 2 game, back and forth. That's not good for anybody. I think it's better off to figure things out, try to have something smooth. Maybe Fajardo gets injured. Maybe Trey Ford just, learns more from being there. He can ask Cody some in-game situation questions and possibly, later in the, I will say this. I would start Cody Fajardo up until the point where it was like, hey, you know what? This season for sure is done. Because if you still believe that Trey's the future, then you got to give him another chance. Because if you end up being 1-9, right? Season's over. What's the benefit of long-term for your team and Cody Fajardo? Because, we had Dave Naylor on. He's like, he never got the sense that Cody was like, how long does he want to play? You don't know. So now, and maybe you can find out if Trey can play in this offense or not. Maybe he can't. But at least then you'll have the answer to the question. So I could see it. If they lose their next 2 games, then to me it's good night, Irene. And that's when I would start looking at of it and go from there. So also this just in, Canadian Vanessa Borovilos posts the lowest round in U.S. Open women's amateur history. She just shot a 63 today at Bannon Dunes. 63. That's the lowest round in the U.S. women's amateur history. Whew. Not bad. Not bad at all, Vanessa. Good for you. There you go. That is literally just breaking. Just came down from the USGA like moments ago. So there you go. Some up to date. We like covering everything here on Sports 1440. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. You had a long weekend. You recover. Well, guess what? Don't forget that tonight, Lotto Max, 55 million. The Mark Letestu of lotteries tonight. 55 mil and 4 max millions. Oh, man. Could you imagine the difference? Just remember the deal. If you win, you invite us to the party. And if we win, we'll have a party or two. Tell you that right now. So how could you not? And if you went, like, I would have no problem. If you won 55 mil, I might look and say, man, we might just have to blow 10% of that just on fun activities. Just to start. Easy. For other people. Right? I don't care. We'd have multiple parties. Be a lot of fun. Right? And not every party means getting inebriated. We'd have a lot of other fun parties. Right? Do some sporting event stuff. Maybe we could have like an ongoing, any of you who sign up who think you can race, and we would have like, who is the greatest race car driver? And we would pay for it and you would submit it here. Now, obviously I'm talking to West Edmonton Mall. Have you guys raced on that go-kart track here, Cons?
Yeah. Well, me, you, and Strutty did.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know. Well, I just wanted to bring it up again when I spanked you. I was just seeing if you remember that. So
yeah, that wasn't. It wasn't very good for me.
No. Well, better than it was. Weren't you better than Struts?
I'd love to say yeah, but I don't think so.
Struds beat you too.
Struds, like I was getting passed, and like my foot was to the pedal, and I was getting passed by almost everyone.
No, maybe you just had a lemon or what?
It might have been a lemon.
Well, yeah, but you're kind of short. Like, did you think your foot was to the ground, but
that
maybe your
might have been
pedal
the
wasn't all the way down?
No, it was all the way
as far as
down.
I can reach, Bob. I can't go any farther.
I was like, it was humbling because I walked out of there like I think like almost everyone beat me. But no, it was fun. I'd definitely be down to go back and do it again.
Oh yeah. So no, there'd be lots of fun things.
Or what about Livingston? Maybe like or Annie up a
Does
little
he
bit.
even
right?
know how to drive? Like, I don't even know. Does he? We'd have to ask.
Have to believe.
Right? I've seen him on the simulator. It's pretty good actually.
He did drive into the wall once, right?
Well, dude, he sent me that video, and I don't even know how he went off the track. And because he had the GoPro on, when he smashed, all you heard was "ooh." And so I remember showing my young son that once. He still, he doesn't care about anything. Like, obviously, he knew he was safe, but it was that "ooh" sound that he made. He just thought it was too funny. So that was a classic. 833-401-1440. Hey, the one thing we didn't talk about. What about Cody Grace? Not one of the best, most heads-up play we've seen in a long time. You know, didn't love his punt, came off the side of his foot, and no hesitation. He is downfield. The Hamilton. The other thing is he doesn't have a body type like a punter.
No.
Right? Is that fair? Like, no offense to some of the punters out there, but that guy, like, you know what? Now he's Aussie. Do you know what? I was sitting in section K. So I don't know if it was a guy in section L or section M, but every time they punt, which wasn't very much, by the way, on Saturday, it was a good game for the offense. They didn't punt very often, but when they did, he's doing the oogie oogie oi, but he's saying it in Australian, right? And the whole section chants it. So it's like a small little detail, but you know, they're definitely, I don't know if it's an Aussie buddy or not, but man, it's pretty loud. I will say that. And that was a very heads up play, not only by him, but also by the long snapper, because Grace gets up and then he looks like a punter and how he's carrying the ball. That wasn't the best ball protection at that point, but you know, because man, that would have been brutal if he recovered it and then he fumbled it. That would have been awful, but his long snapper saved him on that. So there's another one. And then, you know what I didn't like about that? 1st and 10, and you throw it pitch deep and you get stuffed and you lose yards on it. God, that was just, I don't know. There's certain times you can get stuffed, and the running tack was better for the most part. Like, I thought the O-line had a good bounce back game. They opened up way more lanes, and like, I would love to know what Rankin's yard after contact was, because man, he bowled over quite a few guys. So there were actually lots of positive for the Elks. But God, when you think of brutal ways, like the people in our section, they were up cheering that they thought he had caught it, because it looked like he was wide open. Like you assume a professional receiver is going to catch that ball, and it was like a delay, and then all of a sudden they're like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, he dropped it." What do you mean he dropped it? Oh. He was not very popular at that moment amongst Elks fans, and rightfully so. Also on the show today, a little bit later on, we're going to talk about the Oilers' offense. And hey, it's still good, but it needs a little bit of a retuning. So we'll talk about that and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Some people wake up and get dressed for work in a suit and tie or a nice dress. At GS Construction, we're less fashion forward and more putting our best foot forward. We wear hard hats and steel toe boots, and most importantly, we wear 50 years of experience with pride. It's not glamorous, it's definitely not easy, but it matters. We do it well. So if you'd like to be part of something where your work matters, GS Construction is hiring. Just remember, when you come for an interview, ditch the tie. See more at gsconstruction.ca.
Mr. Rooter connects with Gen Z.
I have 84 followers, as my niece would say. Slay.
No, that's cringe.
How do I get more?
You're a plumber. Make a skibbity toilet joke.
A skibbity what now?
Or make a fashion calendar full of super hot plumbers, you know? Plumbers with drip.
Young lady, I'd appreciate it if you'd stop acting so thirsty around my employees.
Burn, Uncle Mr. Rooter.
Slay.
For a plumber who cooks, call Mr. Rooter. Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fan. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice. EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365. UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking. Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service. Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project. Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Edmonton's biggest clearance event is at the Brick Outlet on St. Albert Trail. Stop surging and start saving for 4 days only, Thursday through Sunday. We're clearing out our warehouse and blowing out thousands of dollars in inventory. Fine furniture and mattresses below cost. Scratch and dent appliances below cost. Clearance and overstock pieces up to 80% off. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. Find massive savings Thursday through Sunday during Edmonton's biggest clearance event. Only at the Brick Outlet on St. Albert Trail. The Brick Outlet, saving you even more.
At On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave you with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best live DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Chat Brab and 118th.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
The 8th annual Oilers Nation Open tees off Friday, August 29th at 9 a.m. A Texas scramble with fellow golfers, sports fans, and maybe even a few local personalities. Great shots, cold drinks, and a great cause. Gregor's Grads. Sign up at nationgear.ca.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
11 attempts. Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Jump on OTR's party shuttle buses to Elks games, Riverhawks games, and concerts at Commonwealth. To see all upcoming bus events, visit ontherocks.yeg.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2:25. Welcome back. Tuesday afternoon. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having fantastic day. Some other football news. Not a surprise, but for some of you fantasy owners, pay attention. Jordan Addison, the receiver for Minnesota, has been suspended for the first 3 games of the season for violating the league's substance of abuse policy. He's going to miss games versus the Bears, the Falcons, and the Bengals. And Cons, this is kind of what everybody expected. I think I saw a lot of people saying it was going to be 3 or 4.
Yeah, absolutely. It was minimum 3. So that's what the number was going to come in at. And now you got to watch out for Rashee Rice, who will likely face, I would say, the exact same punishment for his offseason, getting a little issue with the off the field. But yeah, I mean, the Minnesota Vikings, they should be able to overcome it. They've got Hawkinson who can bounce back and make some more plays for them. They've got a pretty strong running game as well. So yeah, if I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I don't think you're overly concerned about this one. Obviously, you'd rather have him out there, but that Justin Jefferson guy is pretty good. I think he can handle it for the first 3 weeks, and especially getting JJ McCarthy just accustomed to this offense. You know, maybe simplifying it's a little bit easier, just making sure you get the ball into a couple guys' hands, and then you have that nice little addition in week 4.
Yeah, Addison, for anybody who doesn't remember, he had a 2024 DUI citation. He pled no contest to a lesser charge, and that's how he got out of it. Now, Rice was a little bit different, Cons. Was it not? Because it didn't involve a gun.
Well, he was driving very dangerously.
Okay, but there was no gun then?
I don't know if there was a gun with his, but yeah, he had a 2024 car crash.
Oh, yeah, he was just
street
speeding?
racing.
Street racing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he'll get his as well. He has to do 30 days of jail time as well. But he gets to choose when he does it.
Well, so he'll probably do it in the off season.
Do it in the off season, exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Such a weird thing about our legal system. Like 30 days in jail. Like, I don't care where you're at. That'd be no joke. But I'm guessing he's not in a maximum security when he's doing that.
No. Seems very casual. It's just like, yeah, you tell us and we'll get it done. But when you're ready.
Yeah. Not everybody gets that option.
No.
Right.
He's a high profile. So he missed his games against the Chargers, Eagles, and Giants.
Well, he's not. He hasn't been.
It hasn't been
though.
not yet.
But you're assuming he's going to get 3 games.
I'm assuming it. Maybe it's more, but I think it's minimum 3.
Minimum 3. So there you go. Got a lot of text flying in. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Hey guys, they should play forward, see what they have now. Let them make mistakes and grow. That one comes from Camrose. Chris. Hey, Gregor, I just want to say that Trey Ford should go to the Stuart Skinner Hall of Edmonton failures. Can't carry these people and pretend they're good. Trey Ford's awful. He can run, but he can't throw. And Stuart Skinner's awful. He can't stop the puck. They should both go. Stop ignoring the fact that these people are awful. From Brian fan. Brian, I don't ignore facts. I think you do. Claiming someone that Stuart Skinner is awful is comical. Is he inconsistent? Yes. But was he awful when he beat Dallas 2 years in a row in the conference final? Was he awful when he had 3 shutouts against Vegas? Was he awful? Yes or no? No, he was not. Wasn't awful in every game against Florida either. He wasn't even it wasn't terrible, to be honest. Look at it. He actually led all NHL goalies in goals saved above expected on low and mid chances, some high danger chances. That's where he struggled. So that doesn't mean he's awful. It just means he's inconsistent. As for the I love people who claim this. Trey Ford can't pass. Well, if he can't pass, well, first of all, his second last start, he had a perfect quarterback rating. So let's stop with he can't pass. Right? He just obviously he can't. You look at his career numbers, and by the way, he completed 68% of his passes this season. In his career, he's completed 359 of 534, which just off the top of my head, 36, 53 is it's like 67, 68%. Right? Look at the quarterbacks in the league this year. Vernon Adams Jr., 66. Nathan Rourke, 68. Bo Levi Mitchell, 69. Trey Ford's not terrible. So, just not at all. Is he going to be a superstar quarterback? At this stage, it would seem unlikely. But anybody who claims somebody who's at the high level is awful is just your take is awful, unfortunately. You can dislike a player, but how you're describing him, how you're analyzing him does not make any sense at all. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, I watched the Elks game very closely, and I'm curious if you and maybe even Declan want to chime in on why are their secondary guys so far off the ball all the time? It is a very good question, Steve. And I watched, and Deck will bring in here. I watched that last game, and I watched almost every snap specifically, and I was counting the yards. Where's the halfback? Where's the corner? Where they lined up? And then I went and looked at Hamilton's guys. Now, there are certain guys who are going to line up deeper all the time. Your safety for sure, right? Sometimes the near side guys are going to be a little bit, the far side guys are going to be a little bit farther back, which to me I would be the opposite because you have more time to cover ground. So that's why they do it. But I still think, and they're getting better, but I watched that Hamilton game and Hamilton had a clear game plan. They were going to have screens and plays in the flat, knowing, okay, Edmonton, when they bring pressure, we're just going to get it by them. And then the guy's going to have 8 to 7 yards before anybody's even around him. And that happened all game, Deck.
Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway from the game was how consistent Hamilton was going to the flats. Like Bo Levi and Scott, as well as an OC, are 2 guys you generally think as a quarterback and coordinator who like to air it out. And their commitment to the flats was incredible. And I thought Edmonton was rallying decent enough to make the tackles, but it was happening too late. It was happening after 7-8 yards each time. Those chunk plays add up. The one thing I would maybe say to the corners, especially playing off the ball, because halves they're not linebackers, obviously, but they play so much more in run support. Like, they need to be up there. Their first step can't be towards the line the way a linebacker's is, but they need to be involved in the run support game in a lot of packages and in a lot of sets. For corners, the one thing I would maybe say in Edmonton's defense is just a thought process is this is the 7th game of the season, and you've had 3 different safeties back there. You've gone from Royce Mechie to Kenny Logan to Jalen Garnes. I wonder if they worry about getting beat over the top, and because of a rotating cast of safeties, not having that safety help there, because you're taught as a defensive back in football, everything in front of you, go up and make the tackle, rally and make the play. And that's something they need to do. Like, you can say that, you still got to go make the tackle. And like I said, I thought they did it, better than they had at other points in the season. But that would maybe be the one thing I would say, is that they let their corners play deep so they don't get beat over the top and give up these big bombs to a guy in Bo Levi who's known to bomb it out over his career, because they don't trust this rotating cast of safeties they have to be there and make the right rotations and the right reads.
Yeah. Well, I still see at times the play calling on the defensive side of the ball
worrying
has been very passive and almost like, oh, we have young guys, so we're going to try to protect them from getting beat over the top by letting everything stay in front of them all day. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, is, well, the results in the pudding. It's not working. Mm-hmm. And I'd rather have guys play aggressive and get beat than play passive and continually get beat.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because it is, what do you want? It's is it death by 1,000 cuts, or is it knife to the heart? Like, do you want to give up those 7-8 yard plays, hope you can rally, and then, at some point get a stand on second and whatever from and goal and make them kick a field goal? Or do you want to risk having a big play, go over the top, or risk making a big play as one of the defensive backs? So it is, kind of a pick your poison in that situation. The one thing I guess I would say is that maybe this is just me watching it. Maybe there's not enough faith in their ability to make plays in the secondary, because we haven't seen, any takeaways. Obviously, we haven't seen a whole lot of pass breakups. Maybe there is a lack of faith in the DBs to be able to make that play, but they at least can. At least they're pitching it as go up and make that tackle, and we'll try and stop them when it gets to a second and goal, kind of third and goal kind of scenario. Like, that's not a good way to go about football games. I don't think. Like, you can't have your defense on there for that long. You can't have them get chopped up for that long, because the offense builds confidence and the offense gets into rhythm, and you have a guy like Bo Levi who really gets into the flow of things and starts to pick you apart, and that's what we saw. But that would, I guess, be the rationale behind it. If I have to, play something to it, like, it doesn't leave me feeling, the play calling defensively I don't come away from the game feeling good about it. No. But that would be the rationale I would have behind it. So.
Yeah, like it hasn't been great. What did you make of DeBlanco?
I thought he played really well. He played a little nervous to start the game. He played a little bit nervous. He was coming in for Nick Anderson, big shoes to fill, playing at that will linebacker spot. And it was a new linebacking core as well. Like, Niles is kind of directing traffic with Kenny and Joel that he hasn't been doing throughout the season. It's been, Chalin for a large majority of it here. Cordell earlier in the season, and obviously Nick's been on his weak side that he's come to rely on. I thought Joel played well. He ended up leading the team in tackles. He had 9 tackles in this one. He was flying around out there. Like, this is often said about Joel, and I think it was really evident this game, is that he's an athlete and he makes athletic plays on the defensive side of the ball, and he flies around like an athlete, and he wants to tackle, and he's a nose for the ball. Just early in the game, it was a little bit of nervousness, and it was a little bit like some of his angles early in the game were pretty poor, I thought, but you kind of correct that as the game goes on. You get a little bit better of a read on what Hamilton's doing, like some of the receivers, some of the slots, especially halfbacks, if they're coming out and swing passes, whatever, maybe if they're taking stretch runs, like, you get a little bit better of a feel for what their tendencies are, and you adjust to that. And I thought Joel did it well. We always, on Elks Nation, we always give away our defensive MVPs of the game. Joel wasn't quite mine this game, but he would have been my second place option. I thought he stepped up, and I thought he played well in his first start.
What do you attest to their inability on the D line when they get a quarterback under pressure and they can't take him down?
This is the biggest gripe I have, clearly, with the defensive line. Like, there is no excuse to get hands on a quarterback and not bring him down, especially like Bo Levi. He probably doesn't get as much credit for being as shifty as he is, but he's shifty because he's a vet. He's not shifty because he's a super athlete, especially at this point in his career. Been in the league for 14 years now.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot have hands on a quarterback and not bring him down. And it happened 3, 4, 5 times at least this game. And each time Bo was able to pull a Houdini play out of his backside and get the ball away. It's such a little thing. Like, what it's the I don't even know what an apt comparison would be, or like how I would aptly describe it, other than just saying in layman's terms, it is such a little thing that when you have hands on the quarterback, you have to bring him down. Like, you can't characterize it better than that. You cannot break it down better than that. That is all it is. When you have hands on him, you have to bring him down. You cannot let him get out of there and make a play, because Bo Levi is a quarterback who's able to make the play if he gets even that split second. That's what we saw, and it cost the Elks to the tune of however many yards and however many scoring plays. Like, it is so as a DC, as another guy on the defense, as a head coach, it is something that makes you rip your hair out, because he is there to be taken down. Like, you have him in your clutches. You have your hands on him. All you have to do is finish the play, and they can't do it. And that's really what it comes down to. Coach Killam talked about it a lot in his postgame avail. He said, we're not making the plays we need to be making. Those are the exact examples he's talking about. Those are the exact not finishing of plays that he's talking about. And like I said, it cost them to the tune of X amount of yards and X amount of scoring plays. And in a game where you, by the way, leave 18 points on the board, when you talk about those goal line stands, Keon's drop, only turning Cody's return punt into a field goal, you leave 18 points on the board, you only lose by 4. These are the situations Hamilton is going to make up those 4 points. You know what I mean? So it's just, all it comes down to is finishing the play, getting him down. Coach Killam talked about it a lot, and that is really what it is. It's very basic, it's very simple, but that is the base of it.
And lastly, I know they had time together in Montreal, but we've seen a few key drops here this year. Now, I know that he rebounded and he had the big touchdown in Saskatchewan off a broken coverage play, but that drop, like, there's mistakes you make in a game at key times that are just different. And you know, Cody talked about it. The coach talked about it, that we as a group have to be mindful that we don't make the key mistake at a crucial time in the game. Well, there's no more crucial time than that. And that ball should be caught every time.
100%. I mean, I can't possibly break it down better than you did, because it's similar to getting hands on the quarterback thing. Like, it just has to be done. Keon, what I've clocked about Keon a little bit is he if he can catch the ball wide open, like, he can make a play. But Keon, he doesn't really like footsteps. Like, he hears them. Like, when they're there, it seems to really kind of affect him. Like, if you look at the receiving numbers for the Elks, Keon is right up there in terms of targets, 35-ish, I think it is. I don't know the actual number, but his receptions are only 16. Now, some of those you can obviously attribute to bad balls. Some of that you can attribute to good defensive play. But having 16 caught and 19 not caught, you can't chalk that entirely up to the quarterback or to the defense. Like, a lot of that, the onus is on you. And I think a lot of it is just, like I said, like, he doesn't like these footsteps. I think he gets in his own head a little bit about it. Like, I think sometimes, like, this is a player that's so inexcusable. It's going to be potentially a game-winning touchdown. You had it right there.
My God.
There is nothing to say other than just hold on to the ball, and he couldn't do it. And like I said, like, that is one of the things that is, because it's not a skill issue. Like, we've seen him get the ball. We've seen him catch a ball before. We've seen him, what he can do when he catches the ball. It's between the ears. Like, that's a mental thing. It's hearing footsteps. It's being nervous.
Yeah. And
I like Keon, but like, I mean, come on.
Yeah. And to me, it's a sign of bad teams find ways to lose games.
It's really interesting that the touchdown he had against Saskatchewan, if that ball, I've thought about this a lot, because Cody, he's making a tough throw on the rollout, but he puts the ball on the outside. I forget who the Saskatchewan's DB was. It might have been Campbell, but Campbell's obviously coming cross field. If Cody puts that ball on the inside, I wonder if Keon catches it, because on the outside, you're able to turn your body a little bit, shield, bring it in, plant, and turn. If that's on the inside, you're immediately facing that defender who's bearing down on you. And like I said, with Keon not loving the footsteps, I wonder if he catches that. And we'll never know. Obviously, the play didn't end up happening that way, but it's one of those things that just makes you think, and kind of tracks back to what I said. Like, in those situations when you hear the footsteps and you get in your head about it, how are you going to react? How are you going to come out of it? And Keon, more often than not, in some high profile situations, hasn't done it.
Yeah, very true. Great stuff, Deck. We appreciate it. It's Declan Kruger. Of course, you can listen to him more, and him and Eddie Steele on Elks Nation, anywhere where you get your podcasts. And their new site is coming up next month already. Be right around the corner. That'll be great. If you're a big football fan, you want to be part of it, let us know. 2:41, we'll take a quick break. We'll return. We'll talk some more football. We have lots of hockey talk coming up later. McCarthy, Woodley, Struds, Speck, and more NFL. It is now officially preseason. They did have the one game at the Hall of Fame game, but there's a host of games this week in NFL. If you're waiting to see, I'm not even sure. Like, can you get anything out of preseason in the NFL now? I'm not even sure you can, but maybe for a few rookies, because I don't know. We should probably put a clock on what's going to be the most minutes any certain starting quarterback plays in the preseason. Now there is one. If it's my team, there is one quarterback that I would want to get in at least a full half. Talk about that and more when we return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
McDonald's summer drink days are here. Get a $2 small fruit splash beverage or a small frappe or smoothie for just $3 each. Summer's booming with McDonald's summer drink days. Excludes additional flavor shots and toppings. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
What does excellence truly mean, and how does it guide your choices? At Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't just a goal, it's their standard. They shine in every aspect, from top-tier customer satisfaction in sales and service to impressive inventory, strong customer loyalty, and prices that are tough to match. Experience the dedication to quality firsthand at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Come experience Edmonton Stingers Pro Basketball. Friday, August 8th. It's the most affordable, family-friendly, fun sports experience in the city. Tickets start at just $20. thestingers.ca.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. Delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantor, proudly delivering world-class hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada since 2016. I'm thrilled to announce our in-house production of tool components and accessories for faster turnarounds and enhanced versatility. The future is here at Cantor.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. Your local water treatment company, more than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game and use the promo code Gregor15. Get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. As it's time for our NFL report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer long at legacyheating.ca. And today we stop in where at the defending champs, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles. Olivia Reiner joins us, beat reporter for the Eagles at the Philadelphia Inquirer. Olivia, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing really well. I just got back a few hours ago from training camp practice, so lots to discuss as it relates to the Eagles getting ready for their first preseason game on Thursday.
So NFL preseason's wild to me because it's really hard to get a gauge because none of the starters for most teams ever really play that much. And especially when you're a defending champ, we know who their starting quarterback is. I don't even know if Jalen Hurts is going to take more than 5 snaps in preseason. So when you're going to watch the game, obviously there's some jobs up for grabs. What are the most competitive jobs you feel that are up for grabs in camp for the Eagles?
all of those jobs are on the defensive side of the ball. Now, if you ask Nick Sirianni, he'll tell you the starting right guard position along the offensive line is technically a competition right now. However, Tyler Steen has commanded the entirety of those starting right guard snaps throughout training camp. So even though he may say that they haven't called the job yet, or they have until week 1 to make a decision, the job at the moment is Tyler Steen's, barring any sort of big major change. So that being said, the big things to watch are all going to be on the defensive side of the ball come Thursday. And I would expect to see some of those players for sure in competition for those roles play in these preseason games, get a lot of action, particularly at cornerback. The starting outside cornerback spot is up for grabs currently since Darius Slay was cut in the offseason and signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that spot opposite Quinyon Mitchell is up for grabs. Right now, the competition is between Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson, the veteran. Two very different players, two players that really haven't separated themselves in the pack yet in training camp. It seems pretty neck and neck at this point, which also, presumably looking from the outside in, is part of the reason why they signed traded for Jacorian Bennett late last night in exchange for defensive tackle Thomas Booker, adding another cornerback with starting experience into the mix. Now, I'm not expecting to see Bennett play on Thursday. He was present at practice today. He did not participate in practice. The trade still isn't official. He still has to pass a physical, but cornerback certainly is probably the number one spot I'm most eager to watch in these preseason games.
Well, you led me to my next question because I wanted to ask you about that trade, because I look at their depth chart and I'm like, now maybe someone's injured, or maybe this is when you have a championship pedigree, you want any small advantage you can get. And if we think that Bennett can maybe step in, and is this a subtle shot to Ringo and Jackson to say, hey, you guys are going to have to step up here?
Possibly. It's really interesting, and it's hard to read exactly what is going on here. Like I said, kind of from the outside looking in, neither Ringo nor Jackson have really separated themselves in training camp. They both pretty evenly have split the reps opposite Quinyon Mitchell with the starting defense, the first team defense. So no one has really just completely solidified the role. They've made plays, they've given up plays. It's kind of gone back and forth. So looking at it that way, when you see the Eagles trading a player they really liked in defensive tackle Thomas Booker to the Raiders in exchange for Jacorian Bennett, someone who has experience starting, although not a ton of experience. He also has an injury history dealing with a torn labrum in his shoulder last season that required season-ending surgery. So he's coming off of that as well. You have to wonder if this is someone who can contend for them in that starting competition. We tried to ask that question of Nick Sirianni today, and of course he plays coy. He says we're just happy to get him in the building. We want to try to get him caught up. Obviously, they're a couple weeks into training camp at this point, so he needs to get in those meetings, and he needs to learn Vic Fangio's scheme. He is behind, but at the same time, it's early in training camp, so he will have some time to get to learn everything and to get into the mix as these weeks continue.
Olivia Reiner joins us talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's interesting, Olivia, I remember early on last season, people in Philly, now I know that they've got a reputation of being a very patient fan base, say that somewhat facetiously. And there's a lot of people like, oh my God, the Eagles are brutal. They were off to, a little bit of a slow start, and then everybody knows what happened. So you look at how when they enter this season, and on the offensive side of the ball, there's, you mentioned outside of the left guard, they got Hurts, and you got Barkley and Brown and Smith and Goddard, and then even, Dotson, if he's the number 3 receiver. Is there anybody on the offensive side in a skill player position that could come out of nowhere on the Eagles this year? Or do you think all the skill positions are pretty much accounted for?
Yeah, that's tough to say. I mean, Dotson is someone who I'm really intrigued by going into this training camp, and through 2 weeks of this training camp, he's been a really solid receiver for the Eagles in camp, and he's gotten a lot of opportunity. Both Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown have been injured at times during camp. Devontae Smith is back. He's been back now for a couple practices, but A.J. Brown has been sidelined for the last few practices with a hamstring injury. It's my understanding that's not going to be a long-term thing. But nonetheless, he is out of practice, which means that the guys behind him on the depth chart get more opportunities, and Jahan Dotson in turn is getting more opportunities. We're seeing Hurts target Dotson more frequently, and Dotson has been pretty reliable too in the passing game. So that's a really big development when you think back to this time last year. Dotson wasn't even on the team this time last year, but at least as the season was getting underway last year, Dotson was still learning the offense. He was still getting his legs underneath of him, trying to develop some chemistry with Jalen Hurts. That takes time, that takes reps. And when you're in the thick of the season, you can't really do that. You're not really practicing like that. You're installed. You know what you're doing in the offense, and now you're just trying to get on with the season. So now that Dotson has had the full offseason, he knows the offense. He's comfortable with Hurts. You worked out with him this offseason in Houston. You can completely see that he's a lot more comfortable in the offense and more comfortable with Hurts. So if there's anyone I think that could really, I don't know if breakout is the right word, but if there's anyone who could certainly see more targets this season, I would say it's Jahan Dotson, especially when you consider the fact that the Eagles were such a run-heavy offense last year. Now defenses have a full year of tape of Saquon Barkley and the Barkley-led rushing attack in this Eagles offense. They know maybe perhaps how they can scheme it up a little bit better. They know different ways, they can figure out different ways to stop it. Is this going to be a more of a pass-heavy attack this season? Is that just the way things are going to shift? And if that is the case, having a competent third receiver like Dotson could be a really big benefit to this offense.
Olivia Reiner joining us here discussing the Philadelphia Eagles on the Jason Gregor Show. And I wanted to go into the running back room specifically because Saquon Barkley last year, career high in rushing attempts, 345 carries, obviously 2,000 yards. It was a heck of a season, but they bring in A.J. Dillon from the Green Bay Packers. Do you think there might be a little bit of management when it comes to Saquon, trying to give him the ball just a little bit less?
You know, just based on his usage in this training camp so far, I don't think they're going to stop feeding Saquon Barkley. I think they're paying him all this money and to be a star running back, the star running back that he was last season. I don't think they're going to ease up on him. That said, I also think that it is important for the Eagles to have competent backups for the moments where they do give Barkley a break, or if Barkley is a little bit banged up, and bringing in a guy like A.J. Dillon, and even having someone on the roster like Will Shipley, who was a rookie last season and is going to be assuming more responsibility in this offense this upcoming year, I think is going to be a really big benefit in extending the longevity of Saquon Barkley. He is, I mean, it's crazy to say that someone like Barkley is, could be potentially, getting up there in terms of age because he was so dominant last season, but it's certainly something that the Eagles have to just keep in mind, and just making sure that his body is being taken care of the right way. Nick Sirianni always talks about this and always pushes back on a lot of the questions that we have about like Barkley and whether or not he is going to be able to sustain a similar workload in 2025 that he did in 2024. We'll see about A.J. Dillon specifically. I'm really curious to see how he fares in some of these preseason games. He missed all of last season with a neck injury. Obviously, having come from the Packers now here in Philadelphia, he's looked good in training camp, but there hasn't really been any live tackling. So I think getting him in a preseason game where there's a lot more contact obviously will be a real benefit when it comes to evaluating him.
Now, how has the battle at safety been opposite of Reed Blankenship? And I want to ask specifically about Canadian Sidney Brown entering year 3.
Yeah, that's kind of a similar situation right now in my eyes as the outside cornerback job. A little bit different because Andrew Makuba, the Eagles' second-round pick this season, this year out of Texas, he's been injured. He just recently came back. He's been dealing with a shoulder injury. He's still limited right now. We got to see him today in team drills for the first time since he sustained his injury. He was not working with the first team defense. He was with the second team. So it's a little bit different. Sidney Brown has commanded the bulk of those starting. Well, I hesitate to also call them starting safety snaps. So what the Eagles have been doing is they will have Cooper DeJean start at safety in their base defense. And then when they're in nickel packages, they'll have Cooper DeJean slide down into the slot where he had been all of last season, and then Sidney Brown will come on the field at safety. So technically Sidney Brown isn't starting, but that is a prominent role in the defense. The Eagles spend a lot of time in their nickel package anyway, not a lot of time in base defense. So we've seen a lot of Sidney Brown there. Kind of similar to, like I said, Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson. I don't think Sidney Brown has really stood out or separated himself in any way, both maybe good or bad. I don't think he stood out for the wrong reasons either. So perhaps that is a good thing. I asked Vic Fangio about this the other day, about how he's seeing Sidney Brown progress, because he says he has made progress. But he hopes to see him maybe add a little bit more polish to his game. So, we'll see. There's a lot of time between now and the start of the season, but that is certainly a job that Sidney Brown is trying to win right now. And I think the preseason games are going to be really important for him.
Lastly, who do you think is going to give them the toughest competition in their own division?
In their own division. I think obviously it's the Washington Commanders. Yeah, without a doubt. I'm very intrigued by the Commanders this season, and obviously there's still some question marks as to what's going on there with Terry McLaurin and the path ahead. I'd be really surprised if they didn't find a way to work things out with him. I know he's 30 years old, and I know he has specific demands that he wants in terms of his next contract, but I think the Commanders should do the right thing by their franchise player who's been really good to them over the years and has performed really well for them. Hasn't shown any signs of dropping off. But no, Jaden Daniels had a really tremendous rookie season. Curious to see if he can have a similar type of season this upcoming year, if he will suffer from the feared sophomore slump at all. But at the same time, he's got some kind of that's an older roster for sure. I think it's the oldest roster in the NFL. So is that going to come up and cause issues down the line with injuries, things like that this season? I think that's a big question that I have, if that's going to hold them back at all. No, but we'll see. I think the Eagles-Commanders games were a lot of fun to watch last season. It has become a really fun rivalry, I suppose, even though I think that in the regular season, the Commanders got really lucky in their one win against the Eagles. Lucky, and Jalen Hurts had a concussion in that game and was knocked out and wasn't able to play for the majority of the game. So the Commanders were able to steal that win, arguably, some Eagles fans may say. But regardless, this should be a fun rivalry for years to come. And I think if anyone in the division, and I know it's kind of a low bar, is going to test them, I think it's going to be the Commanders.
Well, we'll see. Maybe if Teddy, or not Teddy, but McLaren will show up or not. Terry, we'll see what happens. But those games, I'll say this, have gotten a lot more interesting than they were a few years ago when Washington was kind of an afterthought. They got a quarterback now, and that makes it much more exciting to watch. Olivia, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy training camp. And do you know, if I have to say, okay, Jalen Hurts snap count in preseason, how many snaps do you think he will take in the preseason?
0 would be my guess. If 2023 and 2024 were any indication, he didn't take any snaps in the preseason in either of those years. So my guess is that it wouldn't make a lot of sense in my mind to have him out there for the preseason. But who knows? He has played in the preseason before his rookie year, his first full year as the starter in 2021, and then 2022. He also got one drive. So maybe he'll get a drive, but honestly, I would be really surprised if he did.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Olivia. Have yourself a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too, guys.
There you go. That's Olivia Reiner joining us from Philadelphia. And I think Washington can push him, Cons. What about you?
Yeah, it's going to be all on Jaden Daniels here, too. If he can continue from what he did last season, I think that probably goes a long way. They had a good offseason. Really, really big fan of what they've been able to build so quickly with that team. Got to stay healthy. Austin Eckler back up running back. Robinson's probably pretty good. I think it'll be tough. I just think the Philadelphia Eagles are so good. And, you saw it really last year when they started to take off towards the end of the season into the playoffs. I don't think they have a weakness. So I still think it's Philly's division, but that can change with one play. Anything can happen, injuries of that sort. So I'll still probably agree with Olivia and say I think that the Eagles take it.
All right. 301, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. As we get to Sports 1440 update, brought to you by 01 Hockeyology. Build your game all summer long with custom training and cutting-edge tech. Become unstoppable. Sign up right now. You can get a month membership anytime you start. You get a full month for only $300. That includes up to 18 on-ice sessions at 01zerone.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Another busy day in the majors. Jays out in Denver taking on the Rockies, looking to make it 2 straight wins. First pitch set for 6:40. Also the Brewers and the Braves. Red Sox host the Royals Athletics in Washington. Orioles taking on the Phillies. Mariners up against the White Sox and the Cards in LA. Up against the Dodgers. Riverhawks in action out in Victoria taking on the Harbor Cats. First pitch set for 7:35. From the NFL, Jordan Addison has officially been suspended by the NFL for the first 3 games of the upcoming season for violating the league's substances of abuse policy. He pled no contest for reduced charge in his DUI case in California and was sentenced to 12 months probation for the incident. For the Bucks, they've signed quarterback Teddy Bridgewater as a backup quarterback after 2 injuries at the quarterback position during training camp. And in the WNBA tonight, you've got the Wings in Brooklyn taking on the Liberty. Sky host the Mystics. Fever up against the Sparks. Sun take on the Mercury, and the Storm meet the Lynx. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM NHL and Riverhawks manager Jake Lamperman. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Work never gets done by standing around. You have to put your words into action. And that's exactly what GS Construction does every single day. Our priorities are safety first, quality second, efficiency third. GS Construction works hard. It's true. But first comes the care, the planning, and the people. Underground infrastructure isn't just about machines and trenches and some traffic inconveniences. It's about doing things right. Find out more on what we do. Visit gsconstruction.ca.
Are you an elite athlete or weekend warrior and you just want to enjoy playing the sport you love with less or even no pain? Have you tried every exercise and stretch imaginable, hoping the next one might do the trick? Well, you tried analog. At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe healing can move along better and sometimes even faster with evidence-based technology techniques and the people who know how and when to apply it. StimPod, zero-gravity treadmills, radial shockwave, and so much more at your fingertips when you click to find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
The 8th annual Oilers Nation Open tees off Friday, August 29th at 9
How are you? And welcome
Texas
to the
Scramble
Jason.
with fellow golfers, sports fans, and maybe even a few local personalities. Great shots, cold drinks, and a great
225. Welcome back. Tuesday afternoon. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Oodle Noodle Origins. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudell, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudell was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as Oodle Noodle.
Summer in Alberta means baseball debates.
Okay, best ballpark snack. Gotta be popcorn. Nah, it's nachos, hands down.
Nah, you're both wrong. It's mini donuts.
But when it comes to beef jerky, there's no argument.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
The only snack every fan agrees on. Grab some for your next ballpark outing.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
You have a choice, and it's a hard one. GMC employee pricing or 0% financing at Wolf GMC Buick. A hard choice, but also super awesome. Get GMC employee pricing on our Sierra lineup, from the Sierra half-ton to the heavy duties. If you have cash, get discounts over $12,000 on many of our Sierras, along with GMC pricing. Or choose 0% financing on our Sierra half-ton lineup. And what a great selection of GMC terrains and fabulous Buick SUVs to pick from. So many choices. But one thing's for sure, you are getting the best deal at Wolf GMC Buick.
At On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tune.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Chat Brab and 118th.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Early in the morning, rising to the street. Light me up that stick.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Red Deer Resort and Casino. August getaways just got hotter. Flash sale. Book by tomorrow for the rest of the month and unlock 15% off plus VIP extras only at Red Deer Resort and Casino.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having a spectacular Tuesday afternoon. Enjoyed your long weekend. And we got lots to discuss in hour number 2. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. Quick little note: the Edmonton Elks have made a trade. Now it's a minor trade. They're going to get an 8th round draft pick as they sent from the Toronto Argonauts, and they sent out depth running back Mr. Brown. So minor little deal here from the Elks in the CFL, but nothing from the active roster, I guess you could say. So they get it's a conditional 8th rounder next year, and Spencer Brown, who was on the practice roster since June 22nd. Hasn't played a CFL game. He's going to go to Toronto. So there you have it. Interesting deal by the Elks. Obviously, they feel that at this point he wasn't going to help them, and they can get a late draft pick and see if that helps them later on. So there we go. Lots more text line in 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, you teased it about the Oilers offense. Yes, we'll get to that, Dave. So the Oilers offensively have like when you think Oilers, rarely do you think, oh, they got a problem offensively, right? They score enough goals. Now, of course, we can pick a certain game. Someone's going to be like, Gregor, they only scored 1 goal. And really, they've only scored 1 goal in Game 7, and then this year was 2-1 in Games 5 and 6. So yes, of course, there are times when you'd like to have a bit more offense, but in general, overall, if you look over the last 3 regular seasons, the Oilers have scored the most goals. But there has been a steady decline. Now, not just for the Oilers, but the whole league. But the Oilers went from 1st in goals in 2023. Then they were 4th in 2024. And last year, they were tied for 11th with 259. So for me, when you got McDavid and Draisaitl in your prime, you should at bare minimum be a top 10 team in goals. Now, they weren't far out. They were 6 out of 10, but still 6 goals behind Buffalo for 10. They can be better. So you look at where have we seen the demise or the decrease in goals? Well, the first one would be on the power play. They scored 89 goals in 2023. They scored 51 goals this year. Now, they did have 60 fewer chances. So let's say they would, even if they would have continued they were 23.7% this past season on the power play, right? They had 51 goals in 215 chances. So not bad. So they had 16 more. So if I do, rough guess, probably would have been like if they would have kept it 23%, they would have had 68 goals, give or take. Right? Actually, that's even too high. Probably closer to 66. So they had 66 goals. So another 15 more. All right. So there's part of it. But if they would have maintained the exact same record-breaking level of 2023, which is probably unrealistic. So even if they would have been at 26%, which they were in 2024, they'd have 5 more goals. Okay, fine. So they have 5 more goals there in the power play. That's it. Now, the Oilers' power play, though, when you just look at it from a percentage standpoint, they went from 32.4 to 26.3 to 23.7. They're trending in the wrong direction. Now, what's changed? To me, there are 2 obvious things that have changed on the Oilers' power play from 2023 to 2025. Cons, you got any guesses on what you think the obvious change from the Oilers' record-breaking power play till last year, 23.7%, which is almost 9% lower, which is significant.
Shot selection?
Selection maybe, but I'm just going to say shooting from Connor McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2023, McDavid had 108 shots on goal. Now, the total is a little misleading because they had more power play time. He had 321 minutes of power play time in 2023. In 2025, he had some injuries, and he also played a full 100 minutes less in the power play because the Oilers had fewer chances and he missed some games. But his shots per 60, which just calculates on a per minute played, which makes more sense, he went from 20.13 shots per 60 in 2023 to 11.9 last year. Draisaitl was at 19.88 in 23. He was at 18.9 in 2014, and last year he was at 15.9. So even he's down, but McDavid's down significantly. And that's a big one because when McDavid's shooting, even if he's not scoring as much, when he's shooting more, you have to now, it forces the defense to play that. They can't shift over and expect it. But just look at the Oilers as a team in their shots per 60 from 1 year. It's dropped significantly, right? That's been the difference. They led the NHL in shots per 60 at 67 in 2023. Then they were at 62 in 2024, which was 4th in the NHL. And this past season, they were down to 53. Now, part of that has to do with the NHL. They track shots a little tighter now. So it's going to look like you have fewer. Even if the goalie makes a glove save, but his glove is outside of the goal, right? They don't call that a shot on goal anymore. It's like it's just a shot attempt, but they don't even actually count it as that. It's just the goalie reaches his glove outside of the goal. It's just a stoppage of play. It's not a shot on goal anymore. And which makes sense because it isn't a shot on goal. The goalie's stopping it, but if the goalie didn't stop it, it would just went wide of the net. So they don't track that as a shot because the Oilers led the NHL in 67 shots per 60 in 23. Last year, New Jersey was the only team above 60. Everybody else was below. So that has had an impact. But the Oilers they've gone from 1st to 4th to 12th. Doesn't have to be. I'm not a rocket scientist. These are just numbers and data. The Oilers aren't shooting as often on the power play. Now, there is one thing that I hear that I disagree with. I hear from a lot of people, you know what, the Oilers, they got to get Bouchard shooting the puck more. And I'm like, are you sure? Do you think, now, how much are we talking? If it's a few shots here or there, okay, he's got a bomb of a shot, right? Tyson Barrie, when he ran the power play for the majority of that 2023 season, he wasn't a heavy shooter. Right? He was at 8.65 shots per 60. This last year, Bouchard was at 10.25. So not a huge increase, a little bit. And that's okay. The guy, nobody shoots 90-mile-an-hour shots more frequently than Bouchard. So I get why you'd use a shot. But I'm not going to have Bouchard in my top 3 shot volume shooters on the power play and think it's going to lead to success. Because if he's shooting, that means he's shooting from distance more. And unless they're always going to be screened, goalie's got a better chance the farther the shot away is that they can see it and react to it. So if you want Bouchard shooting slightly, okay, but I'd probably keep him around the 10.25 shots he was at this year. But I want McDavid shooting more. And I want Draisaitl back up to the level he was in 23 and 24. That, to me, if I'm Paul McFarland, that's all I'm looking at. Now, not all I'm looking at. Of course, that's too simplistic. If I'm the new power play coach of the Oilers, I'm going to go over all the film. But the one thing I'm going to look at is why the Oilers are shooting so much less on the power play per 60. Not total shots, because of course they'll have fewer total shots because they've had fewer power play opportunities. I'm talking on a per minute basis. Because because it's just based on 200 minutes, 210 minutes, not based on the amount of games you're playing or anything like that. It's based on minutes. So I like that. I think it's actually a little bit better. And the order, it's not terrible. Don't get me wrong. It's not like their power play needs to be completely revamped, but it's subtle differences. When they shoot more, they're having more success. Doesn't seem like a big surprise, but it's mainly from 97. And I know sometimes, you can never, I'm not criticizing McDavid. I'm just saying to maximize his skill set and the success of your power play, he should shoot more. And it's a trend that has happened for 3 years. And if you look across the board, the best power plays aren't high volume shooting power plays from the point man anyway, right? They're just not. So yeah, now there's not many guys who shoot like Bouchard. So I'm going to set him up for some, don't get me wrong. But I'm not suddenly going to be like, we're just going to pump pucks to the point and have Bouchard firing bombs all day. It's not going to lead to success. The numbers don't back it up. When their power play was the best, Barry was shooting the fewest, right? He's a distributor. Now, Bouchard does shoot better. So, like I said, if you want a slight increase, all for it. But not a maximum or not a significant increase. If he could get up to 10, maybe 11, all right, I'd probably live with that. But nothing more. Because you had McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins. They shoot the puck the most. As they should, right? Nugent Hopkins had 7 power play goals last year. Probably, more than McDavid. Right? And everyone's like, Nugent never scores in the power play. Right? Bouchard didn't score a power play goal until almost February. And I think one of them was an empty netter, the second one. So, that's something I think automatically just from some shot luck, a few more of his will go in. But I think McFarland, you come in at the right time because your power play unit, while it's still very dangerous, is probably saying, hey, we were below our standard. The Oilers' power play should be at least 26 to 29%. 32 is unreal. Could they do it again? Sure. But I think it's unrealistic to think you're going to break a record or be record-breaking every year. But they should be at least a top 5 power play. No doubt in my mind. So there's an area that he can improve. And so while Gullickson's gone and he had a big say in the power play, I think it could be a good time for a change. So 833-401-1440. That was the talk about the Oilers. Power play will return. We got McCarthy, Farhan Lalji, Kevin Woodley, Spec. We got a loaded final few hours of the show on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Mr. Rooter connects with Gen Z.
I have 84 followers, as my niece would say. Slay.
No, that's cringe.
How do I get more?
You're a plumber. Make a skibbity toilet joke.
A skibbity what now?
Or make a fashion calendar full of super hot plumbers, Plumbers with drip.
Young lady, I'd appreciate it if you'd stop acting so thirsty around my employees.
Burn, Uncle Mr. Rooter.
Slay.
For a plumber who cooks, call Mr. Rooter.
What does excellence truly mean, and how does it guide your choices? At Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't just a goal, it's their standard. They shine in every aspect, from top-tier customer satisfaction in sales and service to impressive inventory, strong customer loyalty, and prices that are tough to match. Experience the dedication to quality firsthand at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Reports suggest that Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Need the perfect ride? The Golf Cart people have it. They offer a wide selection of new and used models from top brands like Club Car, Yamaha, and E-Z-Go. Whether it's a lifted cart for adventure or a sleek ride for the course, they'll find your match. Customize with accessories or choose a ready-to-go option. Trusted by Albertans since 1997 for quality. Visit golfcartpeople.com to find your cart and hit the road or fairway your way.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at Cantork.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.324. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Declan Kruger also here on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having an awesome Tuesday afternoon as you, hey, maybe you're just in the midst of summer holidays, relaxing, enjoying it to whatever you do. It's a great time. If you're an NFL fan, there will be some preseason action. And I just saw a report. Joe Burrow's going to take some preseason snaps. J.J. McCarthy, well, that'd be a no-brainer. If Minnesota didn't play him, the guy's a rookie. He didn't play at all last year. Of course I'd be putting him in. You can't play with fear that all your guys are going to get hurt. Like I wouldn't do it. You can be smart about it, no question. But, man, I'd want them to get in some playing time. And I think, like, remember last year in the NFL where you had so many teams that nobody had snaps? Like, the first few weeks, their offense were terrible. Terrible. They caught up and they got better, but you know what? Why waste it? If I'm a team, I'm going to say, I'm going to try to get an advantage. If some of these other teams don't want to do it, great. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to play the odds, and the odds are my guy's not going to get hurt. So their odds are in my favor. There's always a chance, but there's a chance at any point to get injured. So it's definitely something I would consider. Now, this is also the final year, hockey fans, where you can rejoice. I will tell you something. It is rare that you will get 100% agreement in the NHL on any topic. It's virtually impossible. But there is one thing that every fan base, I think, will be happy about, is that this coming September will be the final time we ever have to watch 8 NHL preseason games, or 7 or 6, depending on your team. It'll be a maximum of 4 starting in 2026. Oh my goodness, it'll be rejoice time for sure. Now let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, and the heat continues outside. So guess what? Stay cool. $2 Sundays, $2 snack size shakes, or even better, download the McDonald's app and then order at Cone for only $1. Only available through the McDonald's app. As Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM joins us. Dave, do you think there will be a unanimous agreement on the reduction in preseason games?
I do not think you are going to find anything that will give you a higher percentage of agreement than that. Maybe the fact that in the new collective bargaining agreement, they're prohibiting teams from stashing, $10 million players and then rolling them out in the playoffs. Your roster in the playoffs has to be cap compliant, though folks in Tampa, Florida, Vegas, Chicago may not love that, right? Because those have been teams that have done that in the past. But in terms of the preseason, like you were just talking about the fact that in the NFL, teams don't even want to play their players in the preseason for fear that they get hurt. Like, what are we doing here in the National Hockey League? Like, I'm not of the mind that you need to walk around always expecting that someone's going to get hurt, so I don't want to play any of my guys. But we also don't need 8 preseason games. That's absurd. I remember a time in Toronto, Jason, I'm old enough to remember, when they played 9 preseason games. Because the 9th was a game that was entirely purchased by Coca-Cola back in the day, and then they gave the tickets away.
Yes.
So they played 9 games. I mean, that's well over 10% of your schedule. That's absurd. Absurd. This is not like the days, and I remember Strutty telling me this story on my show a couple summers ago. I'm sure he's told it on your show, where when he played, guys would drive back to where they played, mid-August, with their car windows rolled up while dressed in a green garbage bag.
Yeah.
To try to sweat off the extra weight for 4 or 5 hours. Nobody shows up like that anymore. We don't need 8, 9 preseason games. We don't need 3 weeks of training camp to get into shape. Put it this way, if you show up to training camp out of shape, there is no time, whether it be 10 days or 3 weeks, to catch up to make the team. You're in a really tight spot.
There's obviously still some UFAs out there. Jack Roslovic is one of them. He had 22 goals last season for Carolina, and a lot of people thought when Vancouver made the trade with Toronto for Dakota Joshua that they were doing it to free up money for Jack Roslovic. But here we are weeks later, and he still hasn't signed. Like the guy has scored, like he did score 22 goals at 2 different times, once with the Blue Jackets, once with the Hurricanes, and a decent player. What do you make of Roslovic? Because he only has 3 goals in 45 playoff games as a smaller forward. And I wonder, he's not that small. He's still 6 feet, but I wonder if that plays into it at all for him, or, and is this a guy who might end up having to sign for like $1.5 million or $2 million lower than what he was expecting?
Yeah, there always seems to be one of those guys every summer where you look at him and think, well, that guy's going to get signed. And then for whatever reason he doesn't, then he has to take a deal that's significantly less than we all expected. Like, yes, he can score. But like, I wonder if Jack Roslovic's the kind of guy where, yes, he can score. You just can't put him on the ice, if you know what I mean, right? Like, you can't trust him to the level that you want in order to have his offensive skill set pay dividends. There have been a number of guys throughout the course of the history of the league that have been guys that have been able to score, that they just don't get the opportunity because their game when they don't have the puck is insufficient. I wonder if teams are looking at Jack Roslovic like that kind of a guy. Nick Robertson is kind of that guy here in Toronto as well. Like the guy can score. Yeah. Like, I bet if he played 20 minutes a night, he probably would score 35 goals a year. It's just that too many are also going in the other net when he's on the ice. which limits the coach's ability to trust him and to put him on the ice. And then as a result, his numbers come down. And it's like he's a 2.5 line player. You know what I mean? Like there's a line in between 2 and 3 where he could play that just line doesn't exist. I wonder if Jack Rostovic's that kind of a guy. Or if he's the type of guy where he's a really good player, an effective player on a team that's not very good, where you don't mind giving him the 20 minutes because you know you're not going to win, but you're looking for goals. And so I think that's what he's probably dealing with right now, is that he's trying to find a situation that he likes. He probably wants minutes, but probably also wants to go to a good team. And I would not be surprised if the response that he is getting from good teams are, "Yeah, we don't have room for you." Or if we do, it's not at the money that you're looking for.
Yeah. So he's an interesting one. Do you think Robertson, because like Toronto's lost Mitch Marner, and I know that people will focus on, but he's still a 100-point player in the regular season. That's a significant amount of regular season points that they've lost. And I've seen all the tweets about, well, you know what? They lost the 12 million. This is what they've got back. I'm like, no one in their right mind would trade those 4 players straight up for Mitch Marner, right? Like there's no chance. So yes, they freed up money, but they haven't replaced his offense. Robertson might be the most talented guy of the new faces to replace him. Do you think they would give him a chance now?
So the problem is, though, he's not the same type of player that Mitch Marner is. Nick Robertson's not a distributor. Nick Robertson's Austin Matthews, just not nearly as good as Austin Matthews. You know what I mean? Like he's a guy who needs to shoot the puck. He's not a distributor. So if you're putting him on a line with Austin Matthews, I do not see a fit there because both guys want to shoot the puck. What made Marner work well with Matthews during the regular season is that Marner was very much a pass happy guy. And Matthews at his best, I mean, he can do both. Matthews can drive a line on his own. And let's be clear here. He is not a guy that requires someone with him to get the best out of him. He is a damn good player, right? Like as good as there is in the game. But their skill sets, him and Marner's, complemented each other. I do not think that him and Robertson, their skill sets will complement each other to the same way, because then you'll have Matthews looking to distribute to Robertson. You do not want that. You do not want that. You want Matthews looking to shoot the puck. And if no one's distributing to Robertson, he is not a good enough player to find himself other areas to contribute. If you can get someone on a line who can give him the puck, the guy can shoot. But that's like his only skill. His defensive game is insufficient. He is not physical. He is not big. He makes poor decisions with the puck in areas of the ice where you do not want poor decisions made. That is what holds Nick Robertson back. So, I guess they lost Mitch Marner. Yeah, there's a hole on that line, but it's not for Nick Robertson. I see it more for Matthias Michelli than I do for Nick Robertson, because Michelli's a guy that likes to distribute the puck. Okay. And so where do you put Robertson? Do you put him on a line with Tavares and Nylander? Like, they never really tried that last year, but I think largely because Craig Berube felt that he would be a liability on a line where he would try to match that line up against other teams' better lines. You don't want Nick Robertson on the ice against the other team's best players. And then you drop him down lower in the lineup. And then that's where you come into this, where do I play him type situation. And that's why he's as enigmatic as he is in Toronto. Because you look and you say, man, look at the goals and like relatively low minutes played. Yes, but against lower competition, because I don't feel that we can play him higher in the lineup, I think, thinks the coach. So no, I don't see a fit for Nick Robertson as a quote unquote replacement for Mitch Marner.
Yeah, well, definitely not directly. I just said they're going to need someone, and maybe Michelli's that guy who does it. We'll see. Obviously, and the other thing is, like, John Tavares had an unreal year.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe he comes in and he goes from one of the worst contracts in the league to maybe potentially being one of the best this season, because now he's making under $4.5 million, which is kind of crazy after the season he had. But I get why. Now is the time to do it. He's made enough money, and he's probably like, well, I think I might be able to give some back after making more than the max in his first few years there. But what about their defense? You find their defense is good enough in Toronto? Do you think are they done, or are they going to look to make some moves before camp?
I don't think it's going to be on the back end. I think their blue line is fine. I really do. I mean, I think, look at it this way. John Tavares had a great year last year. Does he have the same year again this year? Maybe there's a bit of, come back to the mean there. Morgan Riley didn't have a very good year at all last year. I would expect him to have a better year this time around. If Morgan Riley can be better, and he was okay last year, but he can be better. You look at the group that they have. Carlo is a really good defenseman, Brandon Carlo. Jake McCabe and Chris Tanev were really effective just because you know their role. They know their role. You're not asking them to lug the puck up the ice. You're just asking them to be pains in the ass in their own end against the other team's top players, and they did that really well. And Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Simon Benoit were a really good third pairing. They don't have an issue on their back end. Could they make it better? Sure. Yeah, like if Cale Makar became available tomorrow, they could find some room. But he is not going to be, and therefore I think there are other areas of their lineup that they need to pay attention to. And we talked about Marner dropping off the Matthews and Nyes line. Like there's also kind of an opportunity on the left side of John Tavares and William Nylander. That was a roving cast of characters last year as well. Max Pacioretty played in that role. Bobby McMahon played in that role. Nick Robertson never really got an extended run in that role for the reasons that we talked about a moment ago. But if they can't find anybody else between now and training camp, that could be a role that is in question and could be battled for. And man, if you can't get that now, if you're Nick Robertson, they don't bring anybody else in, then you can't be a good player on a good team. So, just because you were not something in years past when you were young does not mean you cannot be something this year moving forward. That's incumbent on him to find a way to earn the trust of Craig Berube so that he can say, yeah, I can put him on that line because I can trust him. He does not turn the puck over at the blue line anymore. He gets the puck out at the line. He gets it in at the red line when he's in the neutral zone without icing the puck. Those are correctable habits and correctable mistakes once you get to a point in your career where you're now a veteran player. That's the role, if I were Nick Robertson, that I would be looking at and saying, I need to try and find a way to take that role. Because if he can do that, William Nylander, yes, he's a shooter, but William Nylander likes to distribute as well. He's kind of a chameleon type player. And you know where John Tavares is going to be, within 6 to 10 feet of the net. That's where he does his best work. So now you need a guy that can work and operate with some distance and can present himself as an option to shoot the puck from a little bit further out. That's where I'd be looking if I were Nick Robertson.
Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM joins us. Luke Hughes, RFA, Dave. How big of a deal do you think he's getting to New Jersey?
Like, you're paying for potential at this point. You really are when it comes to Luke Hughes. Because we've seen flashes, but I don't think we've seen the type of production from Luke Hughes that suggests exactly what he is going to be yet. And so, he's about a 45-point-a-year guy. That's good. He's young. What do you pay for there? Are you paying him? Like, he probably is looking and saying, well, I want the deal that Darnell Nurse signed a few years ago. Tom Fitzgerald's probably looking and saying, I'm not ready to pay you that right now. And so that's, I think, where the logjam is. They'll get him signed. But at what are the parameters? Who wants the term? Does Luke Hughes want a deal where he takes, a 3-year deal at a lower number and then put, because he'll still only be 24, 25 at the time, put 3 more years of legitimate production under his belt and in his body of work. When the cap goes up significantly 3 years from now, you hit a home run again. I mean, I'm probably thinking that the Devils are saying, well, if you want big money, I'm going to need 8 years out of you. I think that's probably where the battle is right now, because players have a level of clout right now where they can say, hey, I'll wait. The cap is slated to go up. Why would I box myself in? That's, I think, where the battle is right now. And again, I think they'll get to an agreement, but I think that's what it is. I think Luke Hughes wants big money. As, like, put it this way, but if you and I sat here right now, I'd say that's probably a pretty good bet to take. Would you agree? To pay him good money, right, Jason?
Yeah, if I'm the team, yeah, I could see why they might want. I could see a lot of agents saying, "Hey, the max guys are going to sign." Although I'm hearing that it's not going to be like next summer. You can still sign an 8-year deal, right? Because it's not until September 15th.
That's right.
That new 7-year max comes in. So I could see why Luke Hughes would say, "Hey, we'll go 8, but then we want more money." And
right.
I would argue if I'm New Jersey to say, we'll stick with 7, and here's the number, just because I think I like Hughes, but I don't know like how good he will be yet.
That's the thing.
It's about potential. I don't know. And injuries, who knows? Maybe it's one, but that's always a little bit of a concern for me.
Like if he's going to sign 8 years, he probably wants 12. That's insane. Now I don't know. I'm not saying that that's what he's asking for, but my assumption would be if I'm going to lock in for 8 years with where I see the cap going, and the first 2 years that I've had in a more limited role in New Jersey, I want 12. That's insane right now. Like, I just don't see a fit there. So, because he may not be a $12 million player in the next 4 years. There was no doubt when it came to Cale Makar. There was no doubt when it came to his brother Quinn Hughes. I don't have that. The fact that you were like, shows it. I think, it's not an immediate.
Although I will say this, I actually think he might not be as gifted offensively, but I think he's going to be better defensively than his older brother.
Yeah, you could be right on that. But that doesn't cost, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't cost 12. Chris Tanev's pretty damn good defensively. That costs 4.5. Right? Like, so you see what I mean? Like, if I'm giving you that kind of money, you better be like an 85 point a year guy tomorrow and be damn good defensively. And we're not there yet. So that's why I see probably a 3-year deal, a 4 year deal, probably no more than that, just because I think there's still uncertainty on both sides. That's going to prevent them from coming to a long-term agreement. If, like, when Cale Makar signed, 8 years, please. Yes, you want 9, done. That was an easy negotiation. This is not that way. This is not the same.
Davey, great stuff, buddy. Enjoy the summer. We'll chat with you again soon, man.
Okay, buddy. See you.
There you go. It's Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM. I like Luke Hughes. I just don't know how much I like him yet. And so it's come down to, you know what? I'd have no problem going long-term, but then it's what's his AAV going to be? And like Cale Makar got 9. I know the cap was lower, but Cale Makar also had done things that Luke Hughes hasn't done. So if Luke Hughes could get 9 right now, and I think Makar only signed a 6-year deal, if my memory is correct. He never signed 8 years. So, that's something. It's not a bridge, but it's not the max. And I think that can be a good middle ground for both sides. 345, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. We got lots more coming up. Struddy's going to join us. Farham, we got some hockey, some baseball, and hey, we'll talk playoffs, baby, coming up next. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
McDonald's summer drink days are here. Get a $2 small fruit splash beverage or a small frappe or smoothie for just $3 each. Summer's booming with McDonald's Summer Drink Days. Excludes additional flavor shots and toppings at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks. Ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 air conditioning install company for slushy lovers. Because while a slushy keeps you cool as an 80s song for a moment, AC from Legacy keeps you cold as ice all season long. A permanent full-body slushy sensation keeping you cold as ice with no payments and no interest for 1 year. Keeping you cool without the brain freeze. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
If you're looking for the ultimate off-road adventure, you'll find it in a Jeep Wrangler. And if you're looking for the ultimate financing deal on a Wrangler, you'll find it at St. Albert Dodge. Right now, St. Albert Dodge is offering 0% financing for up to 72 months OAC on their full selection of 2025 Jeep Wranglers. And it's a great selection. Sport, Willys, Sahara, and Rubicon, plus all the new colors, all on the lot ready to go at 0%. Come see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. TNA Wrestling makes its explosive debut at the Expo Center on Friday, September 26th and Saturday, September 27th for back-to-back nights. Buy your tickets online today. Learn more about what's happening at the Expo Center by visiting the calendar of events online at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. We treat pain and injuries head to toe and some other issues that might surprise you, like incontinence, vertigo, neuropathy, and cognitive issues. We invest in technology, techniques, skills, and people know what and how to fix it. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$3.49. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely, lovely Tuesday afternoon. And it is the final week of the regular season for the Edmonton Riverhawks. They're down to their final 2 games. And they're taking on Victoria in what should be 2 epic games, because it's basically going to decide who is the number 2 seed and who is the number 3 seed. If I'm reading everything correctly, my understanding is Bellingham is the number 1 seed because they won the first half. And then whoever wins the second half will be the number 2 seed. And then the final 2 spots will be with the next best records. Well, right now, the Riverhawks have the best record at 33-19. Bellingham and Victoria each have 31. So I guess the only way would be if the Riverhawks win both and then Wenatchee wins both, maybe they could tie break Victoria and then Victoria would be 4th. But if I'm reading that correctly. Our next guest, he probably follows it a lot closer than I do, would know it exactly. He, of course, is the coach of the Riverhawks. Jake Lanferman joins us once again. Jake, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
So, Jake, first of all, let's say you and Victoria split the next 2 games and you both finished 20-7 in the second half. What's the tiebreaker?
So the tiebreaker would be head-to-head record, which we would have against Victoria.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, you got it right. It's been a lot of trying to figure out how the seeding's going to work. But if we win one more game of these last two, we would clinch the back half, which we're looking to do.
Oh, so then you'd be the number 2 seed. So then you would just stay in Victoria because you'd play them. They're the number 3. You'd play Friday night in Victoria and Saturday, Sunday in Edmonton. Is that right?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. So knowing all of that, Jake, as the manager, like, you don't want to hold back anything, but there's a really good chance you guys are going to make this team in the playoffs later on. Like, do you hold anything back here in these final 2 games at all?
Well, the only thing is trying to set up pitching for the weekend. So I think they're in a very similar spot that we are. Is obviously it's going to be competitive the last 2 games, and both teams want to clinch a back half. But you gotta keep that in your mind for Friday and who you're trying to plan to pitch on Friday. So it's tricky, but the way we're swinging it, hopefully we can continue to find the success.
What do you attribute, like, your offense? You guys have been killing it here for the last few weeks. What do you lead to that?
I think obviously the staff does an incredible job. Our hitting coach and Tanner Kerwer and myself and our whole staff. I think Levi Moon and Jamie Wilson. We've all just got this team to buy into how talented we truly are. And obviously all the credit goes to the hitters. They put in the work every single day to get better and find a way to give ourselves a really good shot to win baseball games. But it's really fun. It seems contagious right now. And every single guy that's getting up to the plate seems that they're trying to pass to the next guy. And it's created some big scores and a lot of excitement, especially at home.
And your league is unique because after the draft, unfortunately, your whole job is to develop players. Some of them just leave your team. Unfortunately, they get, they sign and away they go. And, you guys lost quite a few guys, but sometimes that would leave a dip. It hasn't. You obviously you had a lot of depth that you were able to overcome losing some guys.
Yeah, I think it's the trickiest part of how we recruit this team and trying to get front half contracts, back half contracts, pitching for the whole year. And the guys that we've had on depth guys on the bench and their ability to step up and just kind of fill right in and give us what we may be missing with the other guys has been huge. And but I do really just think the whole team is together has just found a way to mesh and gel and continue to roll that morale into winning baseball games. And everybody knows winning's contagious, and they got a good taste of it here in the back half, and we've just been continuously doing a good job with it.
Looking at Victoria specific, and you said, hey, you want to try to set it up. So, do you want your best pitcher? I'm assuming you want your best pitcher in game 1. So for you, Jake, is it going to set up that you guys can have that regardless of whether you're home or away on Friday night?
Yeah, that's how it's going to line up. The tricky part, and I'm pretty sure they'll be doing the same thing, is you lose a lot of bullpen guys and a lot of guys going home to report early as well to school, or if they're transferring schools. So it's your starters kind of almost roll into your bullpen guys, and you want to use your best pitchers to win that baseball game on Friday and Saturday as well. And I think everybody will be used, and it'll be a team effort, but that's kind of the strategy towards it. You want to set yourself up to win game 1, and then, hey, we'll go to game 2 and figure that out. But I think we've had a lot of guys step into both roles, starters and also coming out of the bullpen. So we're in a good spot with familiarity from pitchers and roles. And I mean, everybody just steps up and gives us whatever they can that day. And it's been huge for us on the back half.
So when you sign these contracts, do you know some guys are going to tell you, hey, I'm going to leave right before the playoffs? Like, is that part of it? Or can you get a commitment to ensure even if you're transferring schools, you're still going to stay right through the playoffs?
It just really depends on the school. We have some JUCO players that are now going to Division I programs that, hey, they want them to get there early to get settled in. And school also starts for some of these schools at different times. And we have a couple of kids that go to California schools and they start later, almost in early September, like our UBC guys and our NAI guys. So every single player is a little different in that sense. And then on top of that, you're trying to juggle your pitcher's innings, and you're getting capped on some guys that, hey, maybe it's 25 innings or 30 innings on the whole summer, and that's why we saw us lose so many guys at the All-Star break. But the guys that have stepped into starting roles and had innings to give us have done just an incredible job in the back half. So you're playing chess the entire year, and it's tricky and it's tough, and I feel like we've done a really good job of it this year after kind of experiencing it last year and knowing what we're getting into for the playoffs.
Well, that was going to be my question. You obviously learned from it last year. What's the key to finding that right juggling balance to ensure you've got enough good roster players?
Yeah, you always need pitching. Pitching is going to keep you in baseball games. But I think this year we have more depth on our offense. I think it's not relying around 2 or 3 guys in the middle of it. It really seems like 1 through 9, anybody can get hot on a certain day, and we're ready to kind of continue firing off that guy's success. So I think this year the depth of our entire roster has just helped us continue to compete and win baseball games.
Jake Lanferman, of course, he's the head coach of the Edmonton Riverhawks. They've got 2 games left in the regular season, both in Victoria tonight and tomorrow. 1 win will guarantee them second place, and that means a home playoff game Saturday night in Edmonton, and then, if necessary, would be Sunday. Now, Jake, I do have one question for you. Have you or guys around the league talked? It seems odd that the first round is a best of 3, and then after that, it's single elimination. Would you rather have like single elimination early, and then when you get to the final, it's a best of 3?
A lot of the coaches, when we talk about the playoff format, everybody would almost finish in a week early, and you go 3-game sets for 3 series or whatever that might look like. I mean, a lot of guys leave at this time of the year. The competition would be a lot stronger if we got into the playoffs a little bit sooner than having such a long regular season. But
okay,
obviously the league's doing what it can to give every team the same amount of home games and whatnot. But yeah, it's definitely that cross your mind. I would probably have it that way as well, where the first round is a single game maybe, and then you go a best of 3 for the semi or the final. But yeah, anything can happen in one baseball game, and I think that's what makes it tricky with the semifinal and the final and the WCL.
And so going into tonight's action, do you have how strict or how restricted are you for your starting pitchers? Do you know that these guys, is it pitches thrown rather than innings? And do you have both your starters tonight and tomorrow on a pitch count?
Yeah, we have, always off pitches instead of innings. So the guys we have built up will be going about 75 to 80. Hey, if they're feeling really well, maybe it's topping at 80 or 90, but we're definitely not trying to abuse anybody with playoffs kind of coming up right now too. So that's where we sit with that. And then we have a lot of guys built up in the bullpen to get us through. But for starters, for sure, that's usually the norm. And early on, we're building guys up from 40 or 50 pitch outings to get up to the 60 to 80.
Well, Jake, continued success. You guys have been very entertaining to watch. The last homestand fans were loving it, as we can attest by the amount of fans that come into it. And hopefully you get a win tonight, and then the Riverhawks can book Saturday night for game 2 at home.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
There you go. That's Jake Lanferman, the head coach of the Riverhawks. Done a great job, man. Like they're really competitive, and that's every league has unique little nuances, and obviously in minor league ball, that's one of the big ones. You might lose some guys, so you got to build a good team atmosphere. You got enough depth so guys know, hey, I might not get to play as much or pitch as much as I want in June, but I'm definitely going to get picked more in July and into August. So whatever they're doing, the Riverhawks, look at the crowds, man. They've been unreal. Cons, you got down to a Riverhawks game yet this year?
Not this year yet. We were debating taking Benny down, but man, the kid naps so often, so it's tough to get him down for a full game. But next couple summers for sure, we're gonna get the headphone things and take him down to a game because we love it. We love going down to a game down there.
You know what? Well, my son's old enough now, and he loves it. We've been twice this year, and both times there's always lots going on. And anybody out there who hasn't been to a Riverhawks game, honestly, even if you're not a big baseball fan, sometimes it's just the scenery. You sit down there in the river valley. It's a nice evening outside. You have your hot dog, you have your pop, your beer, whatever you want. And it's just relaxing. That's what I find. It's calming. It's relaxing. There's always some fun stunts going on in the crowd. They do a great job of keeping people entertained. The ball's good, man. I've seen more home runs this year than I think I've seen in the last 3 years combined. So there's always just something about watching a Jack. It's pretty cool. So definitely recommend it. When we come back, man, everything was great. It was a really competitive game until the drop. And if you know, you know. We'll talk about the drop. Then we got some more with Kevin Woodley, Spec, Struds, and more on a busy Tuesday edition of the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer. LegacyHeating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Busy day in the majors. You got 15 games going on. Jays in action once again, taking on the Colorado Rockies in Denver. First pitch tonight, set for 6:40. Elsewhere, Angels host the Rays. Mariners taking on the White Sox. Padres in the desert taking on the Diamondbacks. And the Dodgers host the Cards. The Edmonton Riverhawks once again in action out in Victoria, taking on the Harbor Cats. First pitch set for 7:35. Jordan Addison officially been suspended by the NFL for the first 3 games of the upcoming season for violating the league's substances of abuse policy. In July, Addison pled no contest to a roost charge in his DUI case in California. Also, Tampa Bay Buccaneers signing quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. In the WNBA, we've got the Fever taking on the Sparks. Sky hosts the Mystics. Liberty up against the Wings. Sun in Phoenix. And the Storm hosting the Lynx. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll talk some CFL with TSN's Farhan Lalji, and we'll discuss goaltending with Kevin Woodley. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus.
It's after 3 o'clock.
Once per Play Alberta.
Sports.
Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned
Welcome back,
on
Jason.
top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
New Jizz Nuggets. This is New Jizz Nuggets, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. What nugget of cooling advice does Nuge have today?
An air conditioner works by blowing air across the cold evaporator coil where the heat is absorbed into the refrigerant. I actually don't know what that means. Kind of like Zach Hyman with goaltender interference. Sorry, Zach.
Well,
you got me there.
Get no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling. Proud sponsor of New Jizz Nuggets.
What does excellence truly mean, and how does it guide your choices? At Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't just a goal, it's their standard. They shine in every aspect, from top-tier customer satisfaction in sales and service to impressive inventory, strong customer loyalty, and prices that are tough to match. Experience the dedication to quality firsthand at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Come experience Edmonton Stingers Pro Basketball. Friday, August 8th. It's the most affordable, family-friendly, fun sports experience in the city. Tickets start at just $20. thestingers.ca.
McDonald's summer drink days are here. Get a $2 small fruit splash beverage or a small frappe or smoothie for just $3 each. Summer's booming with McDonald's Summer Drink Days. Excludes additional flavor shots and toppings at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe that life shouldn't hurt. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't know that sometimes it really hurts. I mean, we've seen people at their worst moments in life, when they feel they have nowhere to turn, or at a time when they felt like their problem just wouldn't ever go away. We've also seen people who thought to themselves, it'll just go away on its own, or this is no big deal. I don't want to bother anyone about this. Don't know where to turn to, or think it's no big deal. Either way, we have the technology, techniques, and skills to help you get back to it, whatever your it may be. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Edmonton's biggest clearance event is at the Brick Outlet on St. Albert Trail. Stop searching and start saving for 4 days only, Thursday through Sunday. We're clearing out our warehouse and blowing out thousands of dollars in inventory. Fine furniture and mattresses below cost. Scratch and dent appliances below cost. Clearance and overstock pieces up to 80% off. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. Find massive savings Thursday through Sunday during Edmonton's biggest clearance event. Only at the Brick Outlet on St. Albert Trail. The Brick Outlet, saving you even more.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock. Tuesday afternoon, the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Remember, you come out of the long weekend, you don't want to miss Lotto Max. $55 million up for grabs tonight. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. Jason Gregor alongside Connor Halley, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. You can text us in our inbox as we're going to go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, one of the most diversified electrical contractors in the province. Project, service, tag, solar, EV for your home or your commercial. They do it all. ActionElectrical.net. As we are joined from the CFL on TSN, Farhan Ollie joins us. Farhan, welcome back to the show, my man. How you doing?
Jason, always good to talk to you. I was hoping to talk to you after a win, you know?
You're muted.
Am I muted? How do I unmute?
All right.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted.
No, there we're good.
Oh, I was unmuted. Okay.
Might have been Connor, so we'll blame him. So, I guess we have to start because, like, there's times where you can. Hey, the other team, they made a play, cost you the game. The Elks, man, they beat themselves. You got to. Now they might not have won the game because Hamilton would have had time to maybe march down the field, but that catch, Farhan, I'm sorry, that has to be made.
Yeah, look, there's no way around it, right? I mean, this is professional football. That's a key time in the game, and you've got to make that catch. I mean, Cody Fajardo couldn't have thrown it any better. And when you couple that with what happened at the end of the first half, where you're on the 1 yard line and you get two cracks at it and you can't score, that's, you know, those are moments. Edmonton did so many things right in this game. They played a really good football game against an elite Hamilton team, but you miss on two plays, or really in that case, you miss on one, and it costs you, right? They just don't have any margin for error, and they seem to still be making one or two a game.
Yeah, well, and you go back to it because it was 3 tries from the 1 yard line. The first one, they thought they got in. They review it. He's not in. Didn't get the second. Didn't get the third.
Well, the one they reviewed was second down. The first down play was the shovel pass where he got tackled at the one. But yeah.
So what do you make of, though, their inability to punch it in?
Yeah, you know, I think the offensive line is underperforming this year, right? And, you know, you look at those two particular plays. It was Mark Corte at guard on the third down play. I think Gregor McKellar at guard on the second down play. Both of them got blown up, right? Like, just easy penetration on the part of the defensive lineman. You know, you can't blame Cole Snyder on those two plays, in my opinion. And, you know, Corte the week before, when they played Saskatchewan, had some challenges with Micah Johnson. He's pretty good, even though he's getting older. The tackles in that game, Ivy, who was so good for this team a year ago, all-star player, struggled badly. Brett Boyko struggled at the other tackle spot. Yeah. So I just think that entire offensive line, like when Ed Hervey built this team, his focus the entire offseason was twofold. Improve the defense and improve Canadian content. And I think he did that. He didn't focus as much on the receiving core, knowing that, you know, this is going to be a multi-year project, but also I think I'm okay at the offensive line, because not only did they retain the bulk of them, right? They bring one guy back from Hamilton, and they keep their offensive line coach. Like, the only coach that was a holdover was Steven Sorrells, and that offensive line group played fairly well last year. So you think you can function. I mean, they lose David Foucault, who's pretty average. You replace him with McKellar. You think you can kind of tread water. So I think that group has taken a step back, and it showed at the end of the half.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, for lots of the game, I thought their protection was actually pretty good. And they opened up, like Rankin was like in Saskatchewan the week before, he couldn't hit it. There was no holes to hit. But this past week, I thought the O-line did a really good job in certain cases. And it kind of goes back to your original point where there was lots to like about the game, but it seemed at the crucial moments, they're not making the right plays.
Yeah, and again, I mean, we're talking about 3 plays in a game where, what do they have, like, probably in the high 50s in terms of plays, but it's not always the plays you make. It's the plays that you make at the most critical times, to your point, right? So, the catch has to be made, and you got to find a way to get it in at the 1 yard line. And, defensively, it's funny, it was a similar game plan to what BC attempted the previous week against Hamilton, where you spent a lot of time on Kenny Lawler, you bend but don't break, and for the most part they finished that, right? Like they couldn't get the last drive done, but again they did so many good things. But at that most important time in a football game, the team that believes they're good and the team that's used to winning generally finds a way, and Hamilton was that this weekend.
Farhan, you look at the Elks, and I know you coach football for a long time. Are they like, I was watching and I'm counting the yards from all the different secondary guys and how deep they're playing off the ball. And Hamilton, they got lots of their yards from just hitting the guy in the flat. And then knowing that by the time, and Edmonton still rallied to the ball, but by then their 7 or 8 yards are gone. Do you think Edmonton is still playing too deep with all of their secondary guys?
Look, and again, I bring this up again because I saw BC do the exact same thing the previous week, and this is kind of a CFL staple, right? Like Rich Stubler, this is the late Rich Stubler. This is his gift to the CFL. The bend but don't break principle, sitting off in cover 4, having everybody deep and rally, dare a team to long drive down the field, expect them to be A, patient enough to do it, and B, to be able to do it without taking a penalty. And you're seeing more and more teams being able to execute that, because they just rarely ever call holding in the CFL anymore. Like offensive line holding, it's crazy because the linemen aren't good enough, but yet you might see 1 or 2 holding penalties, 1 per team per game. It rarely gets called. So teams are now able to execute in that world. And Bo had a lot of time. He was able to look deep and eventually check it down. And were they playing too deep at times? Sure. But what I'm telling you, Jason, is that it's very common around the Canadian Football League for teams to do that, especially when they're trying to take away 1 or 2 elite receivers.
Farhan Lawler joins. So Farhan, going back to your point about, the offensive linemen maybe just aren't good enough. I know Luke Wilson's been taking a lot of flack, and there's some really good things he tweets out. And then I think sometimes he likes to play the heel, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to get
you figured that out, did you?
Yeah. If everybody, I met one of my instructors at school. If everybody likes your show, you don't have a good show. So if everybody likes you on Twitter, then you're probably not doing it well.
I thought everybody liked you.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. No.
Shoot, I got that wrong, Okay.
That's okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but no, it isn't. But look he brought up, he talked about having more practice time, and I actually talked to 2 GMs about this. And he understood the GMs were like, hey, we get it from a player's side. They don't want extra practice on pad time. But what about on day 1? Where you're not in pads, and it's a lot more, not everybody can just sit in film work all the time. Some guys need to see it, and you stand there, and Gregor's here, and Farhan here, and Connor's here, and this is what we're going to do on this play, and we're going to walk through it. And so you see it rather than just seeing the guy, and sometimes your coach's voice can get boring and you drown it out, whatever. Do you think there's room to negotiate some of that, to say, let's even add an hour and a half of on-field time just on day 1 where there's no pads? We don't want to add pad time because that is going to be detrimental physically. Do you think that would ever be a talking point that could be moved on?
Well, first of all, there's barely any padded time, right?
Yeah.
You see, I think it's 11 or 12 padded days total over the course of a whole season. They're allowed after training camp, right? So you don't see a lot of padded time to begin with. I think increasing the overall number of practice time, because quite frankly, if you watch a team in a non-padded practice, there's very little difference between that and a padded practice. They go pretty hard, especially up front, even without pads. But I think the player-led walkthrough, I think you could see more of that, right? And Cody Fajardo, for example, is starting to do more with the offense, where he's bringing them in earlier, and they're doing, whether it's more film time. Potentially, I think that's going to lead to more walkthrough time. You see that with Rourke. He gets the guys out on the field a little bit extra early on his own without coaches. They go through certain player assignments and alignments and looks. So I think so. I mean, in terms of more structured practice time with the coaches involved in planning it without pads, even in a walkthrough setting, I think that would be something that has to be negotiated. But, I get Luke's point that, if we had a little more time, we might be able to do a better job. I'm not sure that is we had the same conversation with Paul Lapolis after the game. He and I were out, and, he's not convinced that that's necessarily the issue. He thinks there's enough time to get what they get done. But for me, I wish we had more off-season time, more OTAs. There was a time when we would have passing camps and, teams would travel for that. That might not be necessary that you travel, but is there a window to bring guys in the off-season and do a bit more base work and make sure that a rookie has a true sense of what to expect when he leaves? I think all of those things are positive, and hopefully as the league starts increasing salaries, because we did see the cap jump, that all of those things might come with a commensurate amount of additional give back by the players where there is more work time.
Because, originally when they had the limit on the amount of hours in the day that you were, because lots of guys had part-time jobs for him.
Yeah.
But nowadays, there's lots of teams who don't, right? There's lots of guys who don't work at all. So it's well, that's your job. So why can't it be an 8-hour a day job? Obviously not all the physical stuff. Your body will just wear down. But if the deal was put in place many back in the 80s and even the 90s, I know it's funny, Chris Morris was one of those guys who's now the president of the Elks. And there's not a lot of guys like him anymore that are working in season. So I think the opportunity to have more time is there, is it not?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there is, and I would probably say that 10% of the players, maybe that might be a high estimate, league-wide actually work in season. And you know who those 10% are? They're the veteran player that's on the verge of ending their career, and now they're slowly transitioning into an insurance job or whatever, right? It's the Canadian offensive lineman, it's the kicker, the guy that's going to live there long. I remember back in the day for the Lions, Louis Pasaglia basically got to determine what time the team practiced. And so, they go in the morning because Louis had to work for ICBC in the afternoon. It was literally like that. So, I think it's not reflective of the rank and file in terms of guys that actually spend additional time working, let alone manual labor. These are professional athletes. They do football. That's what they do. And it's not like they're only in the building 4.5 hours. The guy that is in the building only 4.5 hours, that guy's not in the league long. Those guys spend extra time working out. They are giving their own time. But, would it be great if the coaches could be involved in teaching a bit more? Sure.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you talk to a lot of guys around the league, if this is something that maybe all parties want, they just haven't got together to do. And it's I
think the players want to do it on their own terms, right? They want to be able to come and put the extra time in. They don't want to be forced to do it. So are we talking about semantics or practical change? I'm not sure.
No, okay. Well, to me, you want guys who want to do it because that's the only way you're going to get better. I don't care what your job is. And
sure.
Do you think is there a way to get better offensive linemen? How do we go about it?
I got to be honest with you, Jason. You go watch an NFL training camp and you go watch some of those preseason games, and every team in every league is complaining about quality offensive linemen. And it's difficult, right? And look, I don't think there's bad linemen in the Canadian Football League. I really don't. The biggest issue I've got as it relates to offensive linemen, and people won't like me saying this, is I hate the fact that Canadian veteran offensive linemen get paid more than American offensive linemen that might be better. And I'm not saying that, we're full of elite Americans or poor Canadians. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the supply and demand of it means that a guy gets paid $220 and the American left tackle is getting paid $180 and is better than the guy that gets paid $220. So that bugs me. But in terms of better, I think there's look at Hamilton, right? Like, they had good offensive linemen. Like, they did. They didn't have an issue there. Saskatchewan has good offensive linemen. There's no issue there. Like, certainly when you get into the depth and you start losing a bunch of guys to injuries, then it becomes an issue. But, you know, you look at the NFL, I just did 6 training camps, and 5 of those teams had questions along their offensive line as a big talking point. We don't talk about them because they're names that nobody cares about, but there were issues everywhere.
Is it simply because the size that you want, there's a limit on how many men can be that big and be that quick? It's just like,
totally.
Do we have
totally?
Like, do we have to change something systemically in football because there's just not enough humans to fill that size? Like, you can't just make 6 foot, 6+ offensive linemen and have them 300 pounds. Like, there's just,
well, that's a pretty existential question. That's way above my pay grade.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're going to change the game. You know, the guys that are blocking are always going to be expected to be big. The good thing is, it really in both leagues, is that offensive linemen generally get paid fairly highly, right? Like, usually the salary scale goes quarterback, D-line, O-line, right? Like, you know, those are the highest paid positions. And, you know, we're seeing receivers get an uptick in the NFL and, and potentially up here. But yeah, that's generally how it goes in terms of payment. But, I don't know how you fix the game. People want to watch tackle football. And as long as that's the case, there's going to be a demand for those guys.
Yeah. No, I just wonder, like, just how the game is, because you're asking more from O linemen today than I think you used to before.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, we throw more than we did before in both leagues.
Yes.
Right. So,
that's what I mean. You're asking
we're not necessarily, but we don't necessarily need more, right? Like, to be honest, for me, like, I always think the bigger, more physical player needs to be the run blocker versus the pass blocker. Right. So, maybe people can think it differently. I don't know. Like, especially in this league, right? Like, where defensive linemen in the CFL tend to be a little bit quicker than they, and not as big as they are in the NFL, right? So does that mean we could get away with slightly smaller offensive linemen, for the sake of speed? Can you do different things with your blocking schemes and things like that? I don't know. I mean, ultimately it's bigger people putting a body on bigger people.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I think it's a good conversation to have. Like,
for sure.
And whether people like how he goes about it or not, if you spur on conversation, to me, that's a good thing, because more people talking about your league means people still care about your league. The minute they don't talk about your league, that's when you have a problem.
Yeah. And I think Luke's bringing more people to it. And there's some that don't like what he says. And I think Luke's gotten better at this, because sometimes when he was trying to make a point on certain topics, he might be speaking macro and everybody else views it as a speaking or a sweeping indictment, right? Like, he might talk about what just happened in the Edmonton-Hamilton game, which he wasn't doing, but just trying to make a point. And everybody thinks he's taking a swipe at the entire league and the institution and anybody and everybody. And I think he's doing a better job of being a little more specific. But, he likes the game more than people think. It's not just a case of an NFL guy coming in and looking down at the CFL. That's just not how he's approaching it. And he's learning a lot about the league that he didn't know. And so he's asking questions that maybe you and I have already asked 5 years ago, right? Or 10 years ago. And he's catching up on certain things, but I think it allows us the opportunity to give things a fresh look, because the argument to why we didn't do something 10 years ago, the argument might have changed, but we're still not doing it. And maybe we need to revisit it. Maybe that's going to spur some conversation, right? Like, it's just part of it. Whether you're in a leadership position or in an entry level position, sometimes it's important to look at things with fresh eyes.
Totally. Farhan, great stuff, buddy. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. I hope your team gets some wins. We need to see a few more people. The people that are at Commonwealth are into it. We need a few more of them there.
Yeah, well, winning always helps. That I remember last summer they had 27,000 fans, 28,000 when they started winning. So they can you can win a game. They should have won the game on Saturday. Like, that was a game that they should have won, and unfortunately, that's one of those games where they found ways to lose rather than Hamilton found ways to win. So,
thanks for having me, buddy.
You betcha. That's Farhan Lalji from TSN. Your thoughts on I like the league, but just because you like a league doesn't mean that you can never talk about it and have an open conversation. Right. I think, like you said, some of the stuff when Luke went, you can have a discussion. Doesn't always have to be negatively spurned to have a discussion and say, hey, what about this? What about that? Well, talking to a few managers, like, the fact now that there's hardly any players in the league who have a part-time job anymore during the season, why can't you expand your time? What else are they doing? That's their job. So why not? At least it's a conversation that should be started. Quick break. We'll return. Kevin Woodley joins us. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy, designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
McDonald's summer drink days are here. Get a $2 small fruit splash beverage or a small frappe or smoothie for just $3 each. Summer's booming with McDonald's Summer Drink Days. Excludes additional flavor shots and toppings. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The 8th annual Oilers Nation Open tees off Friday, August 29th at 9 a.m. A Texas scramble with fellow golfers, sports fans, and maybe even a few local personalities. Great shots, cold drinks, and a great cause. Gregor's Grads. Sign up at nationgear.ca.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 EEE. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the 2 best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
What does excellence truly mean, and how does it guide your choices? At Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't just a goal, it's their standard. They shine in every aspect, from top-tier customer satisfaction in sales and service to impressive inventory, strong customer loyalty, and prices that are tough to match. Experience the dedication to quality firsthand at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. It's Terrific Tuesday. Get 40% off any regular price pizza when you use the code word 40Tuesday at the start of each pizza order at papajohns.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$4.29. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely, lovely day. Time now to talk a little goaltending with Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com as we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Female Super League, designed to elevate female youth hockey. The FSL will provide a platform for U12, U14, and now U16 players to improve their skills. Learn more at FemaleSuperLeague.com. As Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine, NHL.com joins us. Woodley, how you doing?
Good, Jason. Yourself?
Good. Today gives us a good opportunity because I know we talk a lot about the goalies and we've kind of broken them all down. Today, I kind of want to maybe go a little bit deeper into the goalie position. I know you work with lots of different people and, you talk to people. A lot of them are wondering, hey, Canada right now, maybe we're not producing as many of the the top end goalies as other nations. And why is that? I think it's a fair question to ask. So when you look at just the development of goalies, Sean Burke told me he doesn't think anybody should be a full-time goalie until the age of 12. You should play other positions, just because if you play defense, you understand what the defenseman's supposed to do, right? So when you play goalie, you're like, oh yeah, he's going to go here when I go here. Different things like that. Well, but I guess let's start there. Is that like, are European countries specializing right away in, kids 8 and 9 are full-time goalies, or do they wait until they're old?
Interestingly, it varies a little bit. So Russia obviously being a hot property right now in terms of where a lot of the top goalies are coming from around the world, they have a lot of specialization early. But what they don't do within that specialization is get too technical at too young an age. We talked about this last week, how much skating is involved, how when you're in their, some of them over there call it gymnasium, when you're in a sort of school program, an athlete-focused school program, you're doing physical literacy like ballet and different elements of dance that allow you to sort of build out those physical tools. You are not just a goaltender in their crease. You're skating. Actually, I was talking with Jeremy Smith today. He's played in the KHL for the last 6 years. Had him on the podcast for us, was sort of banking and interviewing. We're talking about what he sees different over there. And he likes, at his age, as a goalie, he's been playing pro for 16 years, he wants to do all his work within the crease, but he sees the youth over there outside of the crease. And I think that's where a lot of the skill development comes. So even though they specialize, they don't have them playing within their posts, learning reverse VH. They just stress skills at a young age and physical literacy. Certainly the Scandinavian countries, which have been praised for the way they develop goaltenders in Sweden and in Finland, I believe there are rules in both countries about not being just a goalie at too young an age. I know in Sweden in particular, I don't know the exact age, because I've had these conversations so many times over the years. I sometimes miss on the exact specifics, so don't quote me on it, but certainly it's later than here, where they try and make sure that you are not just being a goalie. Again, you're learning to read the game from other sides. You're seeing the forwards. You're seeing the defensemen. You're seeing the whole and learning the whole play develop. You think back to the stories of Gretzky and his dad making him watch hockey and have the pencil out, sort of tracing around the rink where the puck goes. You learn to develop the patterns. Mitch Korn, one of the top goalie coaches in the history of the game, another guy who should be in the Hall of Fame, talks about goaltending being not a game of shots, but a game of patterns. And if you learn to see the patterns from the other side of the puck, it just develops a sort of an awareness, an intellectual level at a young age where these things become more instinctual. So that is one of many parts that I would definitely agree with Sean Burke on that one. We talked about too technical at too young an age with some of the coaching here. We have excellent coaches, but sometimes, and everything is private here, private businesses, private schools, private goalie coach instruction. There's like almost this sense amongst some, not all, but like that the kid comes to your camp and needs to take away something new, that it needs to look like an NHL. Like if you didn't have pucks out at a goalie camp, the kids would probably complain. The parents probably wouldn't send them back, right? They want it to look like the NHL, even if that's not helping them. So there's an aspect of that. But selling this at minor hockey, like selling the idea that, that they should play all the positions. I know for sure, I have lots of cases where I will know a goaltender who goes up to a rep team, and now your starter backup situation or split games on a rep team, and they're good enough to play out when they're not in net, and they're not allowed to. They have to sit on the bench as the other goalie. Stuff like that. Even Jason's not splitting games, like the idea. And I may have shared this with you before, but USA Hockey, we've been through a bunch of things with them. I've been through their bronze level coaching program. And they talk about how when they interface or interact or talk with other sports, soccer, football, baseball, the concept of splitting starts with goalies at youth sports, they've had the term child abuse thrown back at them. Like having a kid drive an hour to a game, knowing that he is just going to sit on the bench and watch the entire game, they use the word child abuse to describe it. Like that, it makes no sense, and yet we want everything to look like the NHL. So certainly splitting nets. I know Alex Auld here in Vancouver when he was coaching, and hey, ex-NHL goalie on the bench, a little easier to justify it, but they would split the games not just from period to period, but they would actually change during changes, and that would allow the goalie who was just in the net to come to the bench and get some feedback about what he was just doing while the other goalie went in. And the amount of development that Alex told me he saw in those two goaltenders that year compared to other years where you had to wait till the end of the game to get that feedback, or sometimes the next practice, was night and day. So there's one that, again,
now you'd have to have somebody on your bench who could give them good feedback, because I think that's, as a coach myself, I bring out guys who know the game, and you know what, we have a goalie, we have one of our assistant coaches spend all the time with our goalie guy to help learn it. But some of the stuff in game. But I love how you talk. Don't be over technical. More so, just learn how to read the play. And when he's here, like simple things. Make sure your angle, right? Like how to check that you're at the right angle when the guy's coming at the top of the circle compared to when he's coming down the middle of the ice.
Right, and having coaches. So having more volunteer coaches that are able to help. Maybe they're not experts. Maybe they're not going to be able to goalie coach at the National Hockey League. They don't work with the junior team. That's not their, but be able to have volunteers on the bench. And that's what Sweden's done. Like their base, and that's what the Americans are trying to do with their bronze level program. Anybody can take it. Mm-hmm. It's not about, hey, and some will progress to silver and gold and a career in coaching. But it's about making sure that those volunteers, that army of volunteers that want to help their kids, are armed with the proper tools and knowledge to be helpful, not hurtful. Yes. So that's a big part of it. Another one that gets rejected quickly at the minor hockey league level, smaller nets. Smaller nets for smaller goalies. The big nets for the small goalies, and I know there are a lot of people who will push back and argue with me on this one, but it actually, not only does it not help the goalie, but it doesn't help the shooter because they just put their head down and rip it top cheese. They're not even looking at what the goalie's doing. As they progress, they need to learn how to look at the goalie and shoot the puck, to read off what they're doing. If they know they can score 10 goals a game by walking into the slot with their head down and ripping it over top of some goalie who barely comes up to my waist, you're not achieving everything you think you are in terms of developing your forwards, your defensemen, or your goaltender. So that's another one that's been big in the States. They still have pushback in the States on that one, but it's had a lot of success. I think that's another one that would go a long way to goalie development. And hey, we can get into the CHL and the problems there as well.
Well, let's go there. So you look at the CHL, and what do you see as the development problems there?
I see the CHL as being one of the biggest detriments to Canadian goaltending development in recent years because of the limited window you have there. And this isn't their fault. It's just the way the league is structured. But you're not getting your starts till you might get a few touches at 17, and then it's your net at 18. You better run with it because somebody else will if you can't. And then at 19, that's your last season. Because there almost no 20-year-olds, right? Like, look at...
To me, they should have 20-year-old goalies. Why wouldn't you?
Well, the pushback, and I've had this, and it's a fair statement. Well, there's only so many spots, and if you had 20-year-old goalies, that's a spot for the 18-year-old or the 19-year-old, so you're limiting one spot. But in terms of giving them longer development windows, like it's way too short. Like it's just too short a period of time. And I'll give you a great example. Tailor-made for this was Ty Young and the Vancouver Canucks. Prince George, he lost his job to Ravensburgen, who was the second goalie picked in this year's draft, went to San Jose, first rounder. Lost his job 2 years ago to him, so they're splitting starts. Ravensburgen took over the starting job. So in his 20-year-old season, Prince George could not find a trade partner. Nobody was willing to give Ty Young a chance or a shot as a 20-year-old goalie because you only have so many 20-year-old spots. So literally could not find a place to play in the CHL, to which the Vancouver Canucks said, thank you very much. We'd love to have him start his pro career. And he was top 10 in the ECHL in his first year in save percentage, and I think he went 8-3 in 11 American Hockey League games. The jump from junior or college to pro is the biggest jump you can take as a goalie, and this guy was deemed not good enough to play in the CHL as a 20-year-old, and that's what he did as a first-year pro. 8-3 in the American League, and I think it was as a 20-year-old, and a .926 top 10 save percentage in the ECHL. So listen, again, this is just the way it's set up. I don't think it's structured very well in terms of the window is way too small. It's about to be artificially open. Like Canadian goaltending will benefit from the fact that they can now go to the States, play in the NCAA after the CHL, and extend their development window. That will help. The other thing that I see far too often, because there's no system. If I've got a young goaltender good enough to play in the NHL, but maybe not all the time, because I had a general manager say this to an 18-year-old goaltender in the CHL. This is not a development league for goalies. It's a results league. That is from a general manager to a young goaltender. So what do you think's wrong with Canadian goaltending development if that's your premier league and that's what they tell the kids at 18? So listen, you need to extend the window. NCAA is going to do that. The other thing you need to do, if that kid isn't playing, we've got to be able to find a way. There's junior leagues, junior A, junior B.
AJHL. What are we doing here?
Find them some reps. If you're letting a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old rot on the bench or play, every 10, 12 games, or even if it's every 2 weeks, it's not enough, man. Like, it's just not enough, and it's absurd. So I think there's more that can be. And listen, I realize it's real easy for me to say, and it's hard because, you've got the BCHL, and they're out of Hockey Canada, and there's all these fractured leagues, and there's money involved, and I get it. It's not an easy business to figure out. But those are things that you've got, if you want to fix, and I don't say fix, but if you want to improve Canadian goaltending development, that would be one area. Now, the other one, and this does not apply to every team, but there are obviously haves and have-nots, and there are exceptional coaches that are caught in this model. But when I see, and this extends to the NHL, Jason, there are some goalie coaching hires in the National Hockey League this summer that are making less than I know some website writers for some teams make. And this goes right down to the CHL. Man, it's too many times it's a tracksuit league. They're just trying to get somebody who will work for cheap because they want the tracksuit, because they're trying to aspire to move up as a professional coach. And I get it to an extent. There's not as much money down there. But if you can pay your assistant coaches real living wages, but you're going to toss the goalie coach $10,000 a year and expect him to have the time to put in the same level of effort as your assistants, then what do you think is going to happen? Do you think you're getting the best of the best? Again, there are some good ones. There are some exceptional ones. But you know what happens? They move up and they move on. And so, you talk about it being a development league, but you're not paying. And again, this is a problem at a lot of levels, goalie coaches compared to assistant coaches, but you're not paying them at a level that allows them to stay and be true developers.
Yeah, no, I love this idea of switching. I've thought it was terrible that a kid, because sometimes you play one game a week. So now the goalie hasn't played a game at 9 or 10 years old. And we're like, what are we doing? The games are the most fun. They are in practice. They get their shots. And then you can because I talk to coaches, when one kid knows he's not starting that weekend, suddenly he doesn't come to practice, right? His motivation's gone. So if you know that, hey, we're going to split, and I love that idea of, hey, maybe every few shifts we're going to switch the goalie out at a stoppage. These are young kids, you know what? If you do it a few times, I don't buy into we switch in soccer all the time, right? Kids play soccer. Oh, substitution. No one even blinks an eye about it. No one even thinks it's because we've never switched the goalies twice in a period, right? Or 8 minutes in a period. Keeps them in the game. Keeps them fresh. I could talk to them on the bench. Hey, did you see what they're doing here? This is where they're trying to go. Come across. And because otherwise the kid sits the whole period and gets zero coaching. And not that you should overcoach, right? You try not to overcoach, but there's virtually no communication other than you come by, you tap his pads, right? And I think there's ways, just because we haven't done something doesn't mean that, that's why I like to say they're inventions. No one did it before. And someone thought they were a dumb idea until someone invented it. And then like, ooh, I kind of like this. It's way better. So
when other sporting bodies, and I'm not talking like the local rec soccer league, I mean governing body directors and organizers at a national level, take a look at your sport and see that goalie on the bench for an entire game and use a phrase like child abuse, it should raise some alarm bells about how we're doing things.
Yeah. Kev, awesome conversation, buddy. Really appreciate it. Have yourself an awesome day, and we will chat with you again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jason.
There you go. It's Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com. I love outside the box thinking, right? Why not? And it's one where if you sit down, you talk to your goalies, and if you have two goalies, say, hey, here's an option. Let's look at this. What do you think? Just because you haven't done it doesn't mean you're not going to be good at it. Let's try it. right? You can try it in practice. Here we have some drills. Now you're on the bench. Now you're coming in. You get them used to it. Like, these are kids. They want to play. Who wants to just be like, nah, you know what? I just want to sit on the bench. I don't want to play. I don't know anybody who's like that. So I love that idea. Quick break. We'll come back. We got 5 questions and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit Action Electrical.
Listen to Jason Gregor Show, presented by Play Alberta.
The number one air conditioning install company for slushy lovers.
Spending 4 years with Darren Burns, but
keeps you cool as an 80s song for a moment. AC from Legacy keeps you cold as ice all season long. A permanent full-body slushy sensation, keeping you cold as ice with no payments and no interest for 1 year. Keeping you cool without the brain freeze. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Reports suggest that Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Is your company drowning in paperwork and administrative tasks? Do you need more data to make better decisions? Nectar.io is your company's all-in-one solution for fleet and materials management, safety, time cards, and GIS-based project management. Now is the time to capture and transform field, site, and shop data into boardroom-level business intelligence, all with one login. Visit Nectar.io to book a demo today. Nectar.io, your business made better.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Jaffa Machinery. Do you know that Jaffa offers in-house and on-site heavy equipment service? Rain or shine, Jaffa Service Department is here for you. Visit jaffamachinery.com for all the details.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$450. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely, lovely Tuesday. Really good conversation with Woodley. If you missed it, if you're anybody, you don't even have to be a parent of a goalie. Maybe your coach, somebody who runs it, just think outside the box some of the ideas of how we view goaltenders. And do you always have to have at a young age? Goalies never playing? I don't think it makes a lot of sense at all. So get him in the game. Perfect sense. Let's get to 5 questions now. Brought to you by The Brick and their great Canadian staycation sale. 20% off all outdoor furniture, free local delivery on purchase of over $4.99. Also, you can save 60% off genuine leather and reclining sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair. Right now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, not Friday, but let's say it's Positive Tuesday. If you were picking an MVP for the Elks so far this season, who would be your pick?
Oh, God. That might be one of the toughest questions you've ever asked. Because, like, honestly, I have no idea.
Like, I have one, and that's it.
You know what? I think I do have one. Because if to me, MVP is doing your job the best. So I'm going to go with Vincent Blanchard.
Oh.
He missed 2 field goals in his first game, has not missed one or a convert since. So I will go with Vincent Blanchard.
That is fair. I was going to say Justin Rankin. I mean, in his opportunity, when given the ball, he's still averaging 5.5 yards per carry. Like, that is legit. He's had some big runs, and I think he's really shown himself to be a really good option in the back or out of the backfield as a pass catcher. So Justin Rankin for me would be the pick, but slim pickings when it comes to this one. Question number 2 for you. 11 more games left in the Elks season. How many more do you think they win?
Go ahead.
I mean, I want to try to remain optimistic and say they can do my prediction from the start of the year, crossover playoff team, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Give me. They're getting better. That's the hard part. I'm going to say they have a strong second half to give us a reason to believe going into next year, and they win 5 more games.
Because I got 11 games. So
Yeah.
Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa. I think they can win 2 of the next 3. Usually there's a split on Labor Day. Not always. Usually. They got more East games. I got Toronto twice. So if they win 5, that means they're 6-10. Yeah. I thought they'd be 7-9 this year. So I'm gonna stick with that, which means they'd actually have to be above 500 for 11 games.
All right.
Not sure I believe it, Cons, but I'm gonna stick with it.
Hey, stick with what you go back to the beginning of the year. Question number 3 for you. If you had to guess Bo Bichette's next contract, what do you think it looks like?
That's a good question. I asked it on Twitter earlier today because I was looking at there's 10 shortstops who he's currently 13th highest paid at 11.2. There's 10 guys who make 20 million or more, and they all make 23 million or more. And you look at Bo Bichette's numbers. So I looked it up. Like, this guy, he's one of the best hitting shortstops out there. He leads the shortstop in hits. He's second in doubles. He's second in RBI. He's third in average. He's 4th in slugging percentage, 7th in OPS, 10th in home runs, 2nd in RBIs, 11th in on-base percentage. So his offense puts him right up there. Now, defensively, this year, actually, he's in the top 10 in fewest. He's tied for 10th in fewest errors. And his fielding percentage is 14. So just above average, right? There's, 30 teams. So he's just above average. I'm going to say, and I looked at all the other guys who are making 25 mil. I'm going to say he ends up at around 27.5 is what his AAV will be. Term is kind of where I'm torn. I wouldn't do a shortstop for 10 years at that, but he's such a good hitter. He could eventually move to second base. Right. And so maybe, but you're signing him more for his offense than you are his defense, and his offense should be able to last. So I'm going to say 8 years. It's going to get 8 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the ballpark I would think as well. It's still just 27 years old. I don't think he's going to be that top upper echelon, like north of $30 million, but I think he could come in right around 28, 29. So I'll say around there. And I kind of agree with you on the 8 years. I think that would be a good spot. If he wanted to go shorter term and try to maybe lock in another contract down the road, I'd understand it, or maybe then hit free agency and seek another organization. But yeah, I think he's going to be a top 5 paid shortstop next season. The question number 4 for you here, as I scroll back to my questions. Today is the late Herb Brooks' birthday. So in honor of that, and his great speech that is immortalized in the movie Miracle, what is your top motivational speech? And it can be real life or movie if you have one.
Go ahead.
I will say I always love the Remember the Titans, leave no doubt. Remember the night they played the Titans.
Yeah.
Always a good one. But just the combination of Coach Gaines and then Ivory from Friday Night Lights halftime national or state final game always gets me going. So it's gonna be a football one for me. I'll say Friday Night Lights.
Oh man, there's lots of good ones, but this could be in walk of life, right? Doesn't have to be from a movie, right? Or does it have to be from a movie?
And no, movie, real life, whatever you want.
Okay, well, if I'm gonna do a movie, it was what's it called? Pursuit of Happiness.
Okay.
Cons when Will Smith, his character, is giving his son the advice: don't ever let someone tell you can't do something. Not even me, right? You got to have a dream. You protect that people can't do something along those. I don't know the exact quote, but it's somewhere along those lines. So in a movie, that would be it. In real life, did you ever see Steve Jobs' commencement address at Stanford?
No.
I recommend watching it. He talked about how work really is going to fill a big part of your life. It just, sadly, in our society, you got to work. And so now, whatever that job is, that's why, when moms or dads decide to be a stay-at-home mom or dad, when someone says, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and they always try to stay-at-home dad, they try to downplay it. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? That's an incredibly important job and hard. First of all, it's not 8 to 5, right? Like, it's all encompassing, but whatever your job is, you have to believe that it's got some value. And if it isn't, then hopefully you can find something that is. Now, that's easier said than done, right? Because sometimes, depending on your situation early on, you get into a job, and then my advice to anybody, especially younger people, it's hard now when you're established, but if you're younger and you have a job, don't go out there and on your first paycheck, I got to get the big new vehicle, and now I got a huge car payment, right? Got to get a house right away, and I got a big payment, and you're locked into it. Now it's hard to leave your job at a certain pace, okay, because you can't leave because you have to stay there because you've committed all these other things. Maybe better off, you know what? Buy a used vehicle for way cheaper, lower payment, because then you can leave, because if this job doesn't fulfill you, you can find one that does. So, but Steve Jobs, basically, that's kind of what he talked about, right? Find something that you really, in your heart of hearts, you enjoy, and then it'll be better. But he did a way better job and much more in depth than I did, but that's kind of the Coles Notes takeaway from it. I always thought, I like to watch some of those commencement speeches. Some are not good. Like, some of them, I find the person doing the speaking has lost touch with reality on the average person, right?
Yeah.
And so, but in his case, I don't think he did.
Yeah, you could see it from him. If it were to happen, it would have made sense. Final question for you. Today is National Oyster Day. Is there one food above all the rest that you would never, ever want to eat in your life?
I actually like oysters. You don't like oysters, Cons?
No, they look gross.
So you've never tried one?
No, I never will.
Well, I'll be honest. Oyster was definitely, now maybe some of you tried it really young. I never did. Oysters were not something. It was Ron, when he used to work at Vaughn's, was the one who got me into it. And he described the difference between the East Coast and the West Coast. There is a difference, definitely, as you get more into tasting them. And man, I quite like oysters. But if there is a food that I would never want to eat for sure, just like, there's some gross ones, of course, but I'm going to go with liver. Liver just gross. Now, I have eaten onions. I don't like it, but I'll eat an onion. But liver, no. I took a bite of it once, and I'm just like, I'll never eat a liver. No chance.
Yeah, there's things that I've never really seen a cooked up liver, seasoned. Maybe
doesn't matter. I'm not doing it.
If you didn't tell me, maybe you could convince me. I would say most seafood for me is just ones I just don't like it. Calamari, people love it. Couldn't do it. And I'm just still on the topic of oysters. I don't want Rocky Mountain oysters either. So, yeah, I'm pretty picky when it comes to eating, and I've come to peace with that. There's just a lot of stuff I'm good not to have. Have you had prairie oysters?
I did have to. Yeah, I tried it. I'm a farm guy. I felt like I had to try prairie oyster. Now, if you wouldn't have told me what it was, I might have enjoyed it more. Because I think that's the key is say, hey, I got some. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I think automatically we have a skewed vision of what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Right. Because like my son, there's certain things he doesn't like. I'm like, well, I know what is it? I'm like, just close your eyes. I'm going to give it to you. No. Well, now I'm lost. So, but I'm like, if I tell you, you've convinced yourself beforehand. Like I get it. If you told someone, hey, you're going to have prairie oysters. Now, if you say prairie oysters, most person's like, well, what's a prairie oyster? Well, don't worry. Just try it. Tell me if you like it. But if you tell them what it is, they're like, I'm not eating bull testicle. Like, I'm not doing it. Right. So it's very different. Prairie oyster, bull testicle. Right. It's different. Now, would I eat it again? No, but it was not the worst thing I've ever eaten.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tried it once. Like there are some food like out there that I guess it's cultural for sure in different places of the world, but like, no, certain things I'm just like, I'm passing on. I can't do it. And I will try things because if someone in their house has made it, I'm like, well, it's obviously not going to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
I just might not like it. So if I go to someone's house and they have something like I might take a small piece of it, but usually like even stuffing cons, if like at Christmas dinner or whenever you have stuffing, I usually just, it's like a buffet and you can just serve yourself. Rarely, well, not rarely, but you won't see it on my plate.
No,
I don't eat it.
I respect that. I'm similar. Like, if someone prepares something, I'd be more likely to try it.
Yeah.
Not ordering it. My nephew was really into sardines a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, people love them out of a can.
Yeah, politely declined. Said, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
More for you guys.
Yeah, that's a different one too. But people like it. Good for them. Yeah, but I can't get into sardines. Like it's not happening for me. Sorry. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We got Struds. We got Spec coming up in the final hour. Busy Tuesday edition of the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Lotto Max, $50 million tonight. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca, which is not bad at all. Now, let's get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Cattail Crossing. Early risers, this one's for you. Tee off bright and early and enjoy free breakfast. Only $55 with the Rise and Dine. Book it at cattailcrossing.ca. Their kitchen's unreal. Breakfast, fantastic.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Busy day in the majors. Jays looking to make it 2 straight over the Rockies when they meet at 6:40 right now. Astros on top of the Marlins 2-0 in the second. Also in the second, the Tigers trail the Twins 3-0. And in the first, Athletics, great start. They lead the Nationals 5-0. Later tonight, we also have the Red Sox hosting the Royals, Brewers in Atlanta, Cubbies host the Reds, White Sox travel to Seattle, Dodgers host the Padres, and the Diamondbacks host the Padres, and the Cards taking on the Dodgers. Riverhawks in action, taking on Victoria once again. First pitch set for 7:35. From the NFL, Jordan Addison of the Minnesota Vikings has officially been suspended for 3 games for the upcoming season for violating the league's substances of abuse policy. In July, Addison pled no contest to a reduced charge in his DUI case in California, where he was sentenced to 12 months probation for the incident. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have signed veteran quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. WNBA tonight, it's early. Wings lead the Liberty 4-0. Later on, you got the Sky and the Mystics. Fever in Los Angeles. Mercury hosts the Sun, and the Lynx taking on the Storm. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear from Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Jason Strudwick, former NHLer. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today.
Just after, remember, you come out of the locker
with promo code
PlayAlberta.ca.
$100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
The annual Oilers Nation Open tees off Friday, August 29th at 9 a.m. A Texas scramble with fellow golfers, sports fans, and maybe
Jason
even
Gregor,
a few
Connor
local
Halley, Sports
personalities.
1440
Great shots,
Orders
gold
Nation.
drinks, and a great
Nation.
cause.
Orders
Gregor's Grads. Sign up at nationgear.ca.
McDonald's Summer Drink Days are here.
I'm just
Get
like,
a $2 small fruit splash
Cattail
beverage
Crossing,
or a small frappe or smoothie for just $3 each. Summer's booming with McDonald's Summer Drink Days. Excludes additional flavor shots and toppings at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Edmonton's biggest clearance event is at the Brick Outlet on St. Albert Trail. Stop searching and start saving for 4 days only, Thursday through Sunday. We're clearing out our warehouse and blowing out thousands of dollars in inventory. Fine furniture and mattresses below cost. Scratch and dent appliances below cost. Clearance and overstock pieces up to 80% off. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. Find massive savings Thursday through Sunday during Edmonton's biggest clearance event, only at the Brick Outlet on St. Albert Trail. The Brick Outlet, saving you even more.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Is your company drowning in paperwork and administrative tasks? Do you need more data to make better decisions? Nectar.io is your company's all-in-one solution for fleet and materials management, safety, time cards, and GIS-based project management. Now is the time to capture and transform field, site, and shop data into boardroom-level business intelligence, all with one login. Visit Nectar.io to book a demo today. Nectar.io, your business made better. For all things golf carts, it's the Golf Cart People. Their certified techs provide expert service from maintenance to custom upgrades. Customers can explore the sales floor for new and used Club Car, Yamaha, and E-Z-Go models. The Golf Cart People stock a wide variety of parts and accessories to keep every ride in top shape and offer convenient rentals for tournaments, weddings, and festivals. Trusted for sales, service, parts, accessories, and rentals since 1997. Visit the Golf Cart People at golfcartpeople.com, your complete golf cart solution.
Ford employee pricing is on now, and you pay what we pay on the Ford you want. Visit your Alberta Ford store or Ford.ca today.
Explore Internet just got 10 times faster. 5G Ultra brings incredible speeds to homes in rural and small town Canada. Upgrade today at xplore.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Calling all cheddar lovers. Try Papa John's new cheddar crust one-topping pizza for only $17.99. Order online at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock, Tuesday, August 5th. First Tuesday of the month. Hopefully it's special. Welcome back. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Well, it could be really special. Tonight, $55 million up for grabs at PlayAlberta.ca. Get your tickets in Lotto Max. That also has 4 Max Millions up for grabs. As it's time to get to the spec report brought to you by GS Construction, specializing in underground infrastructure. They make your life more enjoyable with running water, indoor plumbing, and just a free way to get you to and from work. That is GS Construction. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, good afternoon. How you doing?
Beautiful day, man. How are you doing?
I am. I'm doing pretty well. Had a good long weekend, and now we get set. For fun of this, I don't want to talk about it every day, but I will just for fun because it's the first show we've had in August.
Okay.
Do you believe Connor McDavid will have a contract before the end of August?
no.
A new contract, I could say, because he obviously has one for this coming season.
I say no. I say it's a September contract.
September. Any reason why?
I don't. No, not really. I mean, I'm trying to keep in touch with the principals, and I'm not. I haven't. Everyone's saying this. We could sign a deal in a week or 10 days, so don't think we can't. But haven't talked much. We haven't done much. There's still some things to get ironed out. So no, I just don't think that they'll, frankly, almost get around to it until September. I want to say this, Jay. I don't think anybody wants to start camp or the season without a contract. Like, if they're going to do one, I think they want to do one before the media and the fans and everyone starts asking every single day, how come you're not signed yet? How come you're not signed yet? So I think it'll be a September thing.
Okay. And do you have any idea on a number?
No, not really. I think I'm in the 16-5, 17 camp.
All right.
How about you?
Yeah, I could. I don't have any reason to think necessarily that it's otherwise to that. But I know I love my idea of a 1-year deal, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. So I get why, but
yeah. No, I love your idea too. I love your idea too. To me, the negotiation here, like the thing that the Oilers will just pay Connor McDavid as much money as it takes. They'd love to get as much term as they can. I think we all know that. And I think the player is rightfully going to be a little hesitant about too much term. Like, I'm looking at the Oilers and I think they're a genuine Stanley Cup contender this coming season. But there is some questions going forward. A lot of their guys are getting older, right? Ekholm's getting older. Henrique's older. Janmark's older. Will Howard turn into the player you hope he is? If he does, great. But what if he doesn't? What if Savoy's not a great player? The defense isn't young. So I think that trying to sell Connor McDavid that he can win a cup here next year, everybody knows that. But can he win a cup here 3-4 years from now? That would be the question I would ask if I was on the Connor McDavid side.
Yeah, well, you never know, right? Like, there's lots of factors that will go into that. And here's the funny thing. One guy who plays a factor in that is Connor McDavid. And because I look back at the one element of the Oilers, because very quietly the Oilers offense, it's kind of been going downward slowly, not a massive amount, but first in the league 2 years ago in 2023. Then they went to fourth. This last year, they were 11th. And I don't believe when you have McDavid and Draisaitl, you should ever be 11th in offense. I think your team should be good enough. And could the depth guys chip in a few more goals? Yep. But their power play spec went from 32 to 26 to 23% in a 3-year span. That's fairly decent reduction. Now, 32 was unsustainable long-term. It's a record-breaking year. But you have to be 9% lower. And the other thing that went from that is when they were at 32%, McDavid was shooting the puck a hell of a lot more than he shot the last 2 years. So as much as it crazy it says, hey, Connor, we'll make other guys better, but you can still shoot the puck. That would be my thing.
Yeah, that's absolutely. And I think that if presented with the numbers, and I'm sure McDavid does get presented with those numbers, the guy I know, the Connor McDavid we've watched here will do and tailor his game and do whatever it takes to make the team win, right? I don't see Connor McDavid saying, yeah, well, I don't feel like shooting. So it is a bit of a mystery. There's one thing that the media and the fans and everyone has in common is we all watch Connor McDavid play and we go, man, I wish you'd shoot the puck more. Right? And I'm not sure his coaches and teammates aren't in the same boat. So that is one of life's mysteries at this point, my friend.
Yeah, it's an odd one, but it is just it's part of the evolution. So, and the thing about, like, I hear, I have a chance to win, but the truth of the matter is, so Connor McDavid, and I've said it all along, superstar players, I would never sign 8 years. I think a 4 or 5 year deal makes tons of sense because lots can change in that period of time. Doesn't mean that you won't stay happy and want to stay in Edmonton, but it does put some pressure on the organization to say, hey, let's keep making wise decisions, right? And not get lackadaisical. So I like that. But I do sometimes bristle at the, good chance to win. Tell me outside of Edmonton in Florida, who has a better chance to win the next 5 years?
Well, certainly the next year or so, nobody. And I want to say this: it's a bit of a chicken or egg. You know, if this team has Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl for the next, let's say, 5 years, then when Henrique's contract's up, when Ekholm, gets older, when Janmark's gone, when you turn guys over, you can get the cream of the crop free agents because they'll come to Edmonton if Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are here, right?
Yeah.
There's no bigger free agent magnet out there than Connor McDavid. The only bigger one is Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. So to me, I won't argue with you. Like Henrique, all those guys we talked about, they are aging out, right? There's no arguing about that. But replacing them is reasonable. And I think you can do it in a town that, if you have those two big boys up top, I think you got a pretty good chance of replenishing the resources here or through the free agent market.
Yeah, no, it's totally valid. Now we move to the Elks, and
we had to move to the Elks, didn't we?
Oh yeah, wow. Man, there's lots of that part of that game you liked, but man, the notion that you don't want to make a mistake at a crucial time, man, you could not be more crucial of a time than the Julian Grant drop. Like that's honestly, like when we look at bad drops in Edmonton football history, that's going to be right up there, especially for a regular season. Obviously, playoff game is different, but you're a team that's struggling to try to find a way to win. You've actually played a really solid game. Now you run a good route. Your pass protection is good. Your quarterback puts it right in their hands. Drop it. And it's just like that. It's such like if you're Chris Morris and you're the sales team, you're just like, what the, like, help us out here, guys. We're trying to do things. Like, I think the environment in the building considering is pretty good, but you know what? People, you leave that building to that win, it's a significant difference, I believe, for the next crowd.
Oh, listen. And did he dropped the touchdown pass right in his hands in about week 2 or 3 as well, as I recall. It's pro football. Like, guys in the NFL, guys get released after 2 of those. I don't know what his situation is here. I'm not calling for a guy to lose his job or anything, but I guess I'd turn this around and ask you, Jason, like, how long do we continue to search and dig and pull out our spade and dig out the positives? The offensive line was so much better this time, and they didn't take as many dumb penalties this time. Like, how long do we keep, looking at this team like it's a bantam team and we're trying to keep everyone's spirits up? And at what point do we say 1-6 is 1-6? When is it fair to expect something here, Jason?
Well, I think it's fair to expect it, but the evaluation of the game was, it's not like the Elks went out and just played terrible for the entire game and just blew it and let Hamilton walk all over them. You can make arguments that Edmonton for long stretches were the better team, but they beat themselves. And I don't want to, there's no excuse. They beat themselves. And until they figure out how to be professionals at key times in games, they're not going to win.
Like, it reminds me of, you and I both covered the Oilers during the decade of darkness.
Yeah.
What would happen was they'd fire the GM and the coach and they'd bring in a new regime. And the new regime would show up and they'd look at what they had and they'd have their private meetings and they go, oh boy, there's not much here. Like, this is going to take a couple of years. But the media, and more so the fans, would look at them and go, we've given everybody a couple of years. We're 6 years into this thing and we're sick of losing. Turn this thing around now. And the guys in charge would look at themselves and go, there's no turning this thing around now. This team stinks. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at the Elks. We spent the season and the off season lauding, Chris Morris is a good man. I know him. He's absolutely a great hire. Ed Hervey, we both know Ed. He's a good GM. We love the new coach. Some of the coaching staff comes highly regarded, all those things. But they're 1-6, Jay, right? This season's over and it's August 5th. The season's cooked. They're no good again. Like, how long do we just sit and go, oh, well, tough luck. They were the better team for 3 quarters and they beat themselves. I think we've been saying that for 5 years, haven't we?
No, the Elks have stunk. They haven't really been competitive. Most games were blowouts, or they weren't even that good. Like, you look and say, hey, like the Oilers' decade of darkness, you knew by November the season was over. Let's not kid ourselves.
Well, we know by August the season's over here.
And so, when you're in I didn't expect the Elks to make the playoffs this year. I thought, you know what? I thought best case scenario would be if they were like 7-11, right? I thought that if they won 7 games, that would be good because you have a rookie coach, rookie DC, lots of new things, and really, you know, like a quarterback in his second year, right? Like people are like, oh, Trey Ford's terrible. I'm like, it only made 18 starts prior to this season. That's basically 1 year of starting. You know, we talk about Kevin Woodley with goaltending, and you need reps to get better. It's just a fact. He didn't get a lot of reps. And so, you know, maybe he's still not ready yet. That's fine. But I look at the Elks and I'm like, at something like that game, though, there is the potential. It's not going to turn their season around. I don't think they would have made the playoffs anyway. But I just think those losses can really sting even more when you're a team that's just desperate for a win. Right. And I just looked at that game. I was like, God, they could have won that game. The crowd's happy. Doesn't mean the crowd's going to think, oh, my God, we're making the playoffs. It just means they could have won the damn game. Whereas, you know, like there's some games, you know, you don't have a chance. And that to me is where losers, that's why they're losers, because they still find ways to lose. And that's the Elks have to get out of that cycle. The problem is it's not an easy cycle to get out of.
It is amazing. They do. There's a new hole in the dike every week. Like in Saskatchewan a week ago, the offensive line just didn't give them a chance to win. Exactly. And the defense was awesome. What was the score in that game? 24-21.
21-18.
21-18, excuse me. So it's a 3-point game. The defense allows 21 points. That's a fantastic football game. Yep. You know, the defense gives up a touchdown on the first possession the other day against Hamilton, but they play a pretty reasonable game. They hold them to below 30. That's a high-powered offense. I don't mind that. The O-line gives up, I think, 1 sack. You know, so they pick up their socks, and now there's a new way to lose, right? I mean, I guess, you know, honestly, I won't lie to anybody out there listening. When it comes to the Elks, I'm not really media. I'm more of a fan. I don't cover the team. I don't go to the dressing room and look people in the eye. So, you know, I'm not a guy that's here to tell you I'm a total expert on the inner workings of the Elks. But as a guy that looks at it like a fan, I guess I'm beaten down, man. Like, I can't believe they continue to find a new way to lose. Like, I didn't know there were that many ways, Jason. And I covered the decade of darkness, right? Yeah, I didn't know there were this many ways to lose, and the Elks invent a new one every year.
Well, Spec, you're obviously, and this is normal human behavior, but we have a tendency, you cover the decade of darkness, as did I. And there was many nights where you're like, if you went back and watched the highlights, you'd be like, oh my God, they were terrible. And here's another example of how terrible they were. Like, there was many nights where it was just tragic. And now the difference was that you're in a hockey mad market. And I still believe that there are football fans, not to the level of hockey, I understand it. And so what's more concerning a little bit for the Elks is that they don't have, like, the orders stunk and their fans still came. And which is probably why they stunk longer than they should have, to be honest, because there wasn't a lot of pressure externally to get better. The Elks do have that pressure, so maybe that will help them turn it around quicker. But there's also the risk that if they don't, they're going to lose fans even quicker. That's the challenge.
Well, now this becomes a bigger picture CFL question to me. Like, Calgary's a really good team, and they're not drawing either. They draw 17,000 people, right? So I'm not sure how the CFL does it when they're two Alberta markets. You know, I always was told that in all those years when, you know, BC was coming and going with their ownership, and you could always count on pesky Saskatchewan, and Winnipeg's a great market. There's usually not a team out east that's making any money at all. Edmonton and Calgary were the bankroll for this. You know, they were the two last guys drawing 30,000, selling merch, making money. They were really bankrolling the league, and they are not anymore. Like, that is long.
No, Winnipeg is that team now, buddy.
Winnipeg's that, but yes. Winnipeg's alone. Even Saskatchewan doesn't sell. So, I mean, my point is, if Edmonton's going to draw, they announced 18 the other day. I think Duke said this morning he thought it was 12 or 13 there. Maybe.
No, I was at the stadium, man. Trust me. Though,
say?
The problem is, so Duke's sitting in the press box. He doesn't see the side of the field that's the fullest. The west side is way fuller than the east side.
Okay, so you think 18? Let's say 18's legit.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't know what their number is, Jay. in terms of we need this many to break even. Like
I know what it is. Actually, it's 22.
It's 22. Okay, well, so they're losing money every night in there, and a win would help. A win would bring those 18 back and maybe another 5. So I guess my point is, how long can they sustain it? I hope a long time, because I love the CFL. I grew up in the CFL, but it concerns me. I'm starting to get a little worried. When Edmonton's one thing, I know why the fans aren't going, but I'm looking at Calgary. They got a really good team, and they don't draw either, and that's a problem.
The people don't like their stadium, and I'm not sure that organization has done, like, it's almost like the Flames treat them a little bit like the stepchild. No offense to any stepchild. I hope that your parents treat you well. That's just that's when I talk to some people, that's the sense I get. So
hey, listen, they're operating out of.
I will say this about the Elks ownership. I know they're committed. Yep. This will they're committed to. They had a plan to know that, hey, obviously you would like to win a few more games, but the ownership knew he might lose some money in the first few years until, you change some things. Because I know I talked to Chris Morris, and this is only year 1. You can't change everything and just snap your finger and, everything's going to magically change. Yeah. Winning takes a long time to become bad, and then you can suck for a long time. And then losing, it takes a while to get out of it, right? Even the Oilers, they got Connor McDavid, right? McGee's, as they call him. He made the playoffs once in 4 years, right? Like, it's hard in any league to just have a quick snap of the fingers. And in Edmonton, there was a lot of deep issues inside the organization that need to be fixed. And I firmly believe that Morris and Hervey will do that, but it wasn't going to be done in one off season. It's just there's too big of problems than just fix it one time.
Hey, listen, I'll be the first guy I'm looking for positives. I know I don't sound like it, Jay. I grew up on the Eskimos. I think the Elks, a day at Commonwealth is freaking awesome. I love the CFL. I'll turn on a game between Hamilton and Ottawa, and I'll watch the whole thing. I'm that rare guy who will do that. So, like I said, I know Chris Morris, man. He is steady Eddie. Like, he's a good guy, and no one else there's no better candidate for that job. So I hope it happens, but I got to tell you, it's starting to beat me down watching the process, man.
That's fair.
It's starting to beat me down.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone. I think there's lots of other fans. Like, that's why the loss was so devastating.
Yeah.
Because you win that game and it's just like, hey, we know our team, but my God, at some point you need to, to give a little something back, right? At some point, it's like being a parent. Eventually, when your kid finally says thank you, you're like, oh my God. Oh, like finally, right? Like it can wear you down a little bit. But like usually your kid annoys you all day, and then at the end of the night, can you give me a hug and a kiss? And I love you, Mom and Dad, and friggin' softens up everything, and you're ready to go. Well, you're not getting that right now as an Elks fan, right? Like there's no at the end of the night, hey, thank you for coming. There's none of that. And so I can see how fans get annoyed after a while. It's just
they just get worn down, and yes. There's other options in town. I mean, I believe that the Riverhawks are outdrawing the Elks, right?
No. The Riverhawks average 7,000. Like, well, capacity, yes, but overall numbers, no. They can't get 18,000 into.
They can't get 18,000. But my point is, they're putting in whatever they got to this year. They set a new league record.
Oh yeah. No, they're doing a great job. 100%.
Doing a great job. So there's some options. So you know what? That's good. Competition makes you stronger, and the Elks they've got competition. There's a little baseball team in town that's drawn a lot of people, man, and everyone's leaving that stadium with a good feeling every night. So, hey, pick up your socks, compete, and to put a team in the field that gives me that feeling when I walk out of Commonwealth, and that's the mandate for the job, man. No one said it was easy.
No, it's very true. Spec, have yourself a great one. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one.
Thanks, Jake.
Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. We'll come back. We got Struds and lots of text, 833-401-1440. Because I think it's fair to say that people get beaten down. And that's natural as a fan. I know there was people that stopped watching for a while for the Oilers. They're like, I'm done. I'm out. It's November. I'm doing something else. So you did, but you came back. And if the Elks could get some wins, people would come back. But, man, in a game like that where you play pretty well for lots of stretches and then you lose, I think it's almost worse because you gave hope. And then you just ripped it out. It's like Lucy just pulled the football out of the hands, and the way went Charlie. Ass over tea kettle again. We'll return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle.
Throw a load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
Hey everybody, it's Gene Principe, the Prince of Puns, and I've got something that definitely will float your boat. How would you like to join me and the superstars of hockey on an exotic holiday? Join us on a 7-night cruise through the Mexican Riviera, leaving from LA and including Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and more. While we relax and cruise the tropical waters and have some drinks with umbrellas in them, you could attend an intimate meet and greet with legends like Bill Ranford, Jason Strudwick, Kelly Buchberger, Ron Lowe, and more. Don't miss out on every hockey fan's dream cruise, the Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise. It's going to be one haul of a trip. Prices start at just $23.99, and part of the proceeds support the Ben Stelter Foundation and Kids with Cancer.
Visit cast.tours/Edmonton or call 1-833-347-7678. Call and save $200 when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. Cast Tours, 1-833-347-7678.
Back by popular demand, the Operation 36 Junior Golf Program at Cattail Crossing Golf Club. Designed for kids ages 5 through 17, it combines instruction and on-course play, focusing on technique, strategy, and course management. Taught by certified CPGA pros. Only $325 for 4 weeks of instruction, plus 4 9-hole rounds of golf. Operation 36, Wednesdays 5:30 till 7:30 p.m. through August. Register at cattailcrossing.ca. Click on Junior Program or call 780-973-6686.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 Triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Need the perfect ride? The Golf Cart people have it. They offer a wide selection of new and used models from top brands like Club Car, Yamaha, and E-Z-Go. Whether it's a lifted cart for adventure or a sleek ride for the course, they'll find your match. Customize with accessories or choose a ready-to-go option. Trusted by Albertans since 1997 for quality. Visit golfcartpeople.com to find your cart and hit the road or fairway your way.
If you change your mind, take a chance on the 13. Honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. If you need me, let me know. Will it be around?
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also, a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$5:34. Welcome back. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a fantastic Tuesday. Lots of text. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, as a longtime Elks season ticket holder, I think the hope is there. You can see they're a better team this year than last, and other than the horrible beatdown by the Lions, the games are entertaining. I think we see right now is the lowest attendance the Elks will have. The numbers will rise as the wins come. Hey, Might even beat the Owls this Friday. Dare to Dream from Elks Oil. And that's fair. I think, like, who knows? Maybe that drop, that might be the bottom for the Elks. You never know, right? Like, there's probably maybe another bad game coming, but like that one was a real kick in the junk, only because that was a game they could have won and deserved. Like, they were right in the game, full marks for it, and then they just blew it. Really, one drop from Julian Grant. Terrible. Let's get to Struds On. Won't Be Terrible, brought to you by Action Electrical. Take action on your savings right now at actionelectrical.net. If you're looking for solar on your home or your commercial business, they can get it for you.
The Jason Gregor Show presents Struds On.
I don't believe in tea bags. I use loose leaf tea. And it is so much better than the tea bags. I'll eat tea bags. I'll
Struds On.
I'm not a huge DJ guy. I mean, I guess if you had me a couple glow sticks and a tight white t-shirt that I can get wet, maybe I'd be into it.
Struds On.
There's a lone steakhouse I used to go to down in Kentucky, and they had bowls of peanuts. I wasn't sucking on those ones. I mean, you need to have clean nut. I'm talking about the kind you get in a bag at an Elks game. You know what I mean?
It's time for Struds On.
Not sure anybody knows what he meant there, but still good. Struddy, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys? How was a long weekend, everybody?
It was pretty good. Struds, I know you're filling in on overdrive. Like, are you in need of a nap here pretty soon? It's like we're reaching almost like peak amount of consecutive hours worked for you.
I'm good. I hope I'm going to bring you. I've got 20 minutes of quality, Greg. So we better jam this in there.
Yeah. Hey, Struddy, are you a big baseball guy? Like, have you been following the first place Toronto Blue Jays? Are they getting you invested in them?
You know, I have, and Greg's, yeah, it's obviously that they're in first place. He gets more eyes on him, but it's the way they're doing it. You know, and when the last time they had that run with guys like Josh Donaldson and Bautista, I think you guys remember how I felt. I didn't really like that team. I didn't like the players as much. They're a little bit older, maybe, to me, a little over arrogant, overconfident. This group is the opposite. To me, they look like they're playing for each other. They're having fun. Guys are all over the lineup. You have guys that are hitting first, and they're hitting seventh, and they're hitting sixth, and they're out of the lineup because someone else is coming in. Like, they're really fun to watch, and they're playing for each other. So I'm enjoying this camaraderie, plus that they're winning. But it's everyone contributing, even George Springer, who have been written off. So I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving the way that they're playing.
Yeah, no, they are. You are bang on about different guy almost every night in a different position in the lineup, and everybody's buying into it. And the old adage, "There's no I in team," is definitely working for the Jays. It helps that now they're in the stretch taking on the worst team in baseball in the Rockies, and so should be able to find a way to get to get at least a few wins in the next few nights. You would hope anyway. Meanwhile, you talk about just kind of how they're doing it well, and then you look at the Elks and that game, man. Like, guys, there's lots of things to like about the game, but at the end of the day, they lose again on like a self-destruction drop.
Well, you know what, Greg, is interesting. I for sure, like, that drop is going to haunt Grant, because everyone's looking at you, right? It's like the goalie doesn't make the save in the last minute of the game, or, you have a break when you don't score. This was in your hands, and it was a very, very catchable ball, and you feel sick. You feel like you let down the team. But if you remember, you go back, I believe it was the end of the second quarter, they had 3 cracks to get in the end zone. They couldn't get in there either, right? So there's 2 opportunities. So we're putting a lot of pressure on Grant, and that's fair. I think that's the ball he should have caught. But I'm actually taking this position if I'm a player in that dressing room. Guys, we took a really good team with a really good quarterback, as far as we could. We probably should have won the game. We didn't. So now is not the time to get down. Let's double down. It feels like we kind of know who our quarterback is now. It's not going to be Trey Ford. We're going for Jardo. And I think that they should be like, hey, we should be feeling confident up, frustrated, or more mad that we didn't lose rather than sad that we lost.
Well, okay. I do want to ask you this as a guy who's coached a lot. We had Kevin Woodley on, and we were talking about, goaltending development and everything like that. And he had a very unique point of view, Struddy, on for young guys. Because I know you coach U9, U11, U13, everything. And he talked about, especially at the younger age, he goes, you send a kid, you got a split team of hockey, and he drives all the way to the team knowing he's never going to touch the ice. And did you always switch your goalies halfway through the game? What was your philosophy on it?
Yeah, no. So I let them play full games, and I know it is. I mean, well, first off, they picked a position, right? They chose to be the goalie. You never force them to play net unless they're really young and half ice. But I let them play full games so they could get the feeling of knowing they're going to be in there no matter whether they play well or play bad. They're going to play the whole game. Then they play the other one. Now, if I had 3 games in a weekend, yeah, I might split the third game so they both get equal amounts of games over that time. But just talking to different the parents or talking to the goalie coaches, they'd say let them play the full game so they know this is their game to win and or lose.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because Woodley talked about how lots of the guys he's talked about how is that it's actually not great for the development. Like he even went in some teams. Now, this was what I found unique, Strutty, to keep players in the game. Because think about it as a coach, right? Your goalie's in the game. When do you talk to him? For 2 minutes and sometimes you're trying to address your team. No one really ever gets a lot of in-game coaching at all to the goalie. And so Woodley said there's some teams where they coach that every few shifts they're switching their goalies. Right? And and some people are like, well, why? But he's like, it keeps him in the game. Then you can talk to him because you go to play soccer, you're doing substitutions all the time. No one thinks it's a big deal, right? Like it is totally different than even just splitting the games. But I found like that's something there. I'd be like, God, I'd kind of be interested to try it just to see how the players would react to it. And does it keep them actually in the game more? Because now they're on the bench knowing, hey, I'm going to get back in there right away. I better stay in the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the challenge is that I'd say 99% of coaches out there, hockey coaches, don't know anything about coaching goalies.
Fair point.
And I would include myself in that.
Fair
right?
point.
And can I do a couple drills to help them or a couple skating drills? Yeah. And I probably, because I'm on the ice so much with different academies, I probably know more than most, but I'm not even close to a goalie coach. So I think, if you have, Jimmy the accountant talking to the goalie in the corner, what's he telling him every, let's call it 10 minutes if they're changing, that often. So I think that's where you stumble on it. Now, if you have, Kevin Woodley as an assistant coach on your team, yeah, if you want to change him more often, that's fine. But, again, the challenge I think that they might have, and the players, they'll just play. They're going to figure it out. But I think for the goalies, do they ever get in a rhythm if they're changing that often, right? Do you ever get that feeling of flow? You hear NHL goalies, now it's a long ways from U11, but they want to get in there and just feel like the net's theirs and they can feel confident going. So there's so many different things that happen. I think that, quite honestly, I think goalie coaching is something we need to really look at, for the average coach to kind of learn, but it's really hard. It's a really hard position to learn to coach. If you've never played hockey and you're trying to just coach the forwards and D, it's hard enough. Now you add goalie coach, it's really, really tough. So anyone listening, if you've played any level of goaltending, please help coach your son or daughter's team because we need it. We don't know what we're doing. We can watch videos on YouTube, but it's really, really hard to coach goalies.
Yeah, like I would love an association. I think every association should have a goalie coach who goes around and works. And ideally, you have a few of them. And you know what? Yeah. This guy's in charge of U11 and U13s because you could send out a practice plan on what you want to do for your goalie, right? Specifically. And I think that's something that gets overlooked in a lot of associations.
Yeah. And I think that, I've seen where associations will have like Monday at 7:00, all the goalies, from U11 or whatever, this level, they're all going to that and they have goalie coaching there. But it's a really good idea. I would suggest the same thing with skaters. If you have a skating coach and say, every team's going to do 10 minutes of skating at the beginning of practice. And this is the drills they're going to do. And I think that there's value to that. But, minor hockey is just, it's just like everything. It's got its pluses and its minuses, and we're all trying to help, and everyone's got the best of intentions, and you're trying to figure it out on the fly. While your kids are in hockey or basketball or whatever sport you choose to play.
Oh yeah, no, it's not easy. It's just as somebody who's in it lots, I was just curious if you ever thought about trying that strategy or not. It would be, it would be interesting because I get, the one side of it. I understand it's like, hey, kid goes to the game because I've talked to a few coaches. They say when their son knows he's not playing, all of a sudden he doesn't show up for practice that week because he's like, well, it's not my turn to play this weekend, so I don't care as much. And so that's not fair for any of the players because everybody wants to shoot in the goalie. It's not really fair for the goalie either. He's not going to get any better if he never shows up at practice.
Yeah, and that seems pretty. I didn't have that. I'm having that experience, I think you can say, you continue to work on your game at that time and practice, and then maybe envision yourself in different situations in the game and the saves you make. And I think one way to keep goalies engaged is you get them to track scoring chances or shots or even giveaways, whatever, anything that you think can help them kind of learn at their position.
Yeah, no, that's that definitely was. I love that. Just tracking scoring chances from a certain area. I think that'd be fantastic for a goalie. Jason Strudwick joins us. Struddy, speaking of goalies, we talked with Speck about McDavid, and I'm not going to talk about it every day of the month because I think people get sick of it. But so I'll ask you once, and that's it. Do you think McDavid signs a contract extension, new contract before the end of the month?
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be before the season, though, and this is why. I think that if he's going to sign it to Oilers, I think he'll want to get it done and get it behind him so he can move on to the year and not have to, every time there's someone, he buys something to eat or at the media or whether it's home or away media, they're asking him, hey, do you plan on signing to Oilers? So I think that it'll be done before preseason. I'm guessing they want him in town to talk about it. So I don't know if his plans include coming back to Edmonton end of August. It may. But I think it'll be done when he's here.
Now, you know where he'll be at the end of the month? He'll be in Calgary.
Oh, right.
Which is pretty close to Edmonton. Just
Good
saying,
point.
people. Just saying.
Yeah. So, we're on, well, then, if that's the case, he could race, well, not race back, but drive up from Calgary and make that. And that would make sense. I mean, I think stability is important for him and for the franchise. Then we're going to talk lengths of deal, but I think the extension will be in place so that there's stability. Because going through that all year, that's a lot. That's a lot to work through.
What's your guess on term?
Yeah, I mean, Leon signed the long one, right? And it's funny. I think if you had asked me 2 years ago who would sign the long one, I'd say Connor, not Leon. And here we are talking about Leon having signed the max extension. So that one kind of caught me off guard. So I always thought it was going to be Connor signing the long one. So, everyone, it sounds like the insiders are talking shorter term. But with Leon having signed it, I could see Connor maybe doing it as well. I do believe they have talked about it. I cannot believe before Leon signed it, he didn't at least have a chat. And maybe then I said, well, I'm going to get this as my huge deal on the sign, although he had a pretty good one before, not max, obviously. But I do think, so I'm going to say, I think he's going to go longer. Maybe they end at the same time. So what would that be then, Greg? Is that?
Well, that would be a 7-year deal then.
7. So maybe I'm going to go 7 because I just can't believe that they didn't talk about what their thoughts were.
Oh, how would you not? To me, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a conversation that should be had, I think.
100%.
In that place. Yeah.
And you got to have it because, you enjoy playing with each other. Obviously their wives and stuff are all buddies and they've had some, quite a bit of team success here, although the Stanley Cup's eluded them a lot of individual success. So I just think it's a conversation they have and they have to know what's going on. I think that even Jeff Jackson, I think he would have known maybe what Connor was thinking, although he wouldn't have, he's not going to, hold that against him. So you said this when I was your agent, but I think he got a sense of all of it. So
yes.
I mean, I think the extension's coming and I think longer. I know you've advocated for shorter for him and I get that, but I think the extension will be coming and I'd like to think it'll be longer just for that stability.
Yeah. I think it'll be 4 years, but we'll see where it goes. Struddy, get a nap in and enjoy the Jays game tonight and we'll chat with you again soon.
Yeah, I can't wait for that series on the weekend, right? Dodgers and Blue Jays.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be fun. And then after that, it's the Cubs. So, I mean, that's 2 pretty good teams they got the next, not to overlook Colorado, but a pretty good series coming up.
It's okay to overlook Colorado. They're terrible.
Yeah. I might be able to play on that team.
Well, let's not go that far.
Get it out of the infield.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's true. You could get it out of the infield now, I'm sure. Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
Have a good one.
You got it, guys. See you later.
There you go, Jason Strudwick. Oh, still, we did it. I'll tell it after the break of the hitting contest story. Oh, my God. It's my favorite. We'll return on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money. Support Canada at cantork.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Connor Halley, Jason Gregor for Fun Con Man. Tonight, Jays, do they reach double digits again?
Tough to do. No. 8 runs tonight.
8? Okay.
What do you think?
They're bad, and I think they're rolling. So I'm going to say they hit double digits again tonight. And Colorado, like the Jays can, you know what? They'll get a few guys rolling. Obviously the air in Colorado will help them. So I will say another big night for the Jays. I know a lot of people were making light of their run against differential, being one of the lower of the top teams. Well, really, it came down to 6 games that got blown out. So they'll get a few blowout games back, and then magically it will look pretty even. So coming up tomorrow on the show, we'll talk more football. I think I might replay that Woodley interview. That was pretty interesting. I quite like that. So discuss that, and we're going to go more in depth. Tomorrow will be, because one day a week we really like to focus on the Oilers. Tomorrow is going to be Oiler Wednesday. We're going to have lots of talk about the Oilers and an element of their game I think that they can improve. How? Tell you tomorrow. Have yourselves a great night. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. If you missed any of our guests, go to jasongregor.com. The individual ones are there. Or you can get all of the interviews anywhere where you download your podcast. It's all there. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. 13-time Excellence Award winning for sales and service. You're looking for great vehicles with even better service, VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Busy night in the majors. Jays looking to make it 2 straight against the Rockies. First pitch set for 6:40 right now. You got the Twins on top of the Tigers by a score of 4-1. Astros lead the Marlins by that same score. Giants on top of the Pipes 3-1. Orioles trail the Phillies 4-0, and the Athletics beating up on the Nationals 9-0 in the top of the 4th. Later this evening, Cubs hosting the Reds. Yankees meet the Rangers. Angels hosting the Rays. White Sox head to Seattle. Diamondbacks taking on the Padres. And it's the Cards and Dodgers. The Edmonton Riverhawks in action once again in Victoria, taking on the Harbor Cats. First pitch set for 7:35. And from the WNBA right now, Liberty lead the Wings 37-35. Later tonight, Beaver taking on the Sparks. Mercury hosts the Sun, and that's the Lynx in Seattle. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, it's Fox Sports Radio. Live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. on the Kevin Carius Show. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcast.